But no, this was, listen, I didn't watch every second when it was like, what was it, 30-7 or whatever it was. But that back and forth, only to see Alabama end up winning it anyway, which might end up being the case here if the Mets can't figure out the bullpen situation. But my God, what kind of season Francisco Lindor has had, Michael. And you could take all of the, and I know WAR is supposed to be the stat that determines all of this. And I can't say I've watched every one of Shohei Ohtani's at-bats, and I know the numbers are gaudy and 50 and 50 and all that stuff. But we're just talking about someone continuously saving the Mets season, day after day, coming up with big hit after big hit. He definitely deserves consideration for the MVP. He just has to. He won't get it.
All right, after week...
Come on.
After week 4 of the $2,000 ESPN New York Survivor Pool, 137 players survived while 55 were knocked out. The most eliminations came from the Jets' ugly loss against the Broncos. The sole surviving ESPN personality, Don LaGreca, stayed alive after picking the Bengals over the Panthers. Follow along on the ESPN New York app, powered by runyourpool.com. Big stuff. We'll come back. We'll obviously talk you through the bottom of the ninth inning in the Mets-Braves game. The Mets are leading by 1, 8-7 in the ninth on the Lindor 2-run, 1-out home run. So come on back right here on Yes and ESPN Radio.
Get more for less with Nissan's epic offering of 6 2024 models starting under $30K. Like the award-winning Sentra, the best-selling Rogue, and the all-electric Leaf. All with available Safety Shield 360. Visit your local Nissan dealer to check out the affordable lineup of Nissan vehicles today.
Now get a low $269 per month lease for 36 months on the 2024 Nissan Rogue.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem? Like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Hi, I'm Sally. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a flight nurse on a helicopter that specializes in trauma. I've been doing flight nursing for 24 years. I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to keep up. I wanted all the boost I could get. I heard about Prevagen from a friend. I read the clinical study on it, and it had good reviews. I've been taking Prevagen now for 5 years, and it's really helped me stay sharp and present. It's really worked for me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
Popeye's Wings are the official wing of watching football. Win the wing game every week with 7 signature flavors, including new sweet and smoky chipotle. We don't make sense. We make chicken. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Do you suffer from knee pain? Ever been diagnosed with osteoarthritis? Or worried about the risks involved with knee surgery?
It hurt all the time, like the nerves were rubbing against each other.
I was at the point of either replace my knees because I'm tired of this pain.
Get the relief you need without surgery. We're Arthritis Knee Pain Centers, the premier leaders in non-surgical knee pain treatments. Instead of surgically replacing your knees, our state-of-the-art procedures replenish the depleted natural cushioning in your joints with an FDA-approved shock-absorbing gel, without surgery and without downtime.
After the first injection, I knew it was going to work.
We've successfully treated thousands of patients. Medicare and most private insurance cover this procedure.
Full motion, no pain, walking, everything just back normal like it used to be.
Locations in Garden City, Smithtown, and Wall, New Jersey. Call 1-800-834-5911 for a no-charge, no-obligation knee pain assessment, or go to arthritis-kneepain.com.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
You got a minute?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
We said we'd never give in to a meltdown.
Mariella.
Never leave the house looking, well, and never let them out of our sight. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Visit linkedbylovetv.org to learn more about kidney disease, transplantation, and prevention. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
All right, here's where we stand. The Mets lead the Braves 8-7, bottom of the ninth inning, and the Mets are leaving Edwin Diaz in rather than bring in Ryan Stanek to try to close the game. So Diaz struggled in the eighth inning. What does he do now against what is the heart of the Braves' order?
Well, he got Olsen to pop out.
The first batter to pop up, yeah.
22, that was his 23rd pitch after throwing 26 yesterday. So he could be on fumes here, but maybe just the adrenaline gets him through. Wow. I guess it's the right move, Michael. I think a compromised Diaz is still better than Stanek in this case. I don't know what he would give you in a big spot. Diaz is probably all fired up after what happened in the last inning. Again, that wasn't all his doing because he came in with a couple of runners on, but still, he allowed a walk. He didn't cover first base. He gave up the double. So
well, that was his fault.
Well, that's his fault. I'm just saying. But he came into a situation. You know, sometimes these closers, they come in with guys on. You would rather have a clean inning, but he's got a clean inning here, and he's got an out to get things going. So that's a good sign.
Was the not covering first base, you think, just complete brain fart?
You know, I'm watching it off SNY, and they showed from behind his back after the pitch, and I just think it was absent-minded. I think he thought it was going to be a double. It was a really nice play by Alonso.
You have to back up another base. So he might have been caught betwixt and between.
Now, it would have been close, but it still had no shot with him not covering. And it was crazy because when I saw it live, I'm like, what a play by Alonso. And I thought, did he catch it on the fly? Because when he got up, he didn't really do much in realizing Diaz wasn't there. That should never be the case.
I mean, this is unbelievable theater. It just is. You know, we said it stunk for Major League Baseball to have this doubleheader, but I think all eyes of baseball fans are on this doubleheader right now.
They're not getting it.
In a way, it works out great.
It's not great for the team that gets in the playoffs, depending what happens here today. But, Michael, you're completely right. It's such a great table setter for the playoffs.
Base hit by White after not getting a call on the third ball. It was right. He's not getting the borderline calls.
That was a strike
from this home plate umpire. Should be 2 outs.
It was borderline. It was on the top line of the box that ESPN has, and that was a strike.
And that's it. Looks like he's taking Diaz out because Mendoza's coming out. I'm wondering whether it's to talk to him or whether he is going to make the pitching change here.
I mean, imagine your bacon is on the line with Ryan Stanek.
All right. You do have Severino.
They have nothing else
too, but you can't mess with that. Looks like he's just talking to him, man. Maybe that's it. Just calming him down. It's a big spot, but he's got to be on fumes, Michael. 29 pitches, 26 yesterday. He's pitched a lot here down the stretch, and rightly so. These games have been so, vitally important. Now, he said he'd be available.
So he's staying in.
He said after last night or after yesterday that he'd be available for both games. So,
can I throw something crazy at you guys?
What's that?
I know they wouldn't do it, but Michaels, would any part of your brain consider Severino under the idea that you have to get the win here, and if somehow you don't, whoever loses this game is barely going to put in. I mean, whoever wins this game is barely going to put an effort in the second game anyway.
I think you can't do that because you have the second game as your fallback.
It's not a bad thought. I brought it up to Anthony during the break, and I said the exact same thing you did, Peter. You can't do it. And the reason you can't do it is what if it doesn't work? It's only a one-run lead. So if he gives it up, now in a must-win situation, you lost your starting pitcher. It would be just so devastating. But it did cross my mind too.
By the way, that was just a ball that was 6 inches from being a double down the line.
And now 0-2 on Laureano and a stolen base. So now The tying run is at second base in scoring position with one out.
God, I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's what kills you, because Diaz obviously has no move, as most closers don't, because they usually don't have to worry about too many runners on and all that. But he's got no move. He's so deliberate to the plate, and sometimes they even look. So you had to figure once he gave up that hit that he was going to end up in scoring position. But with the one-run lead now, it's tough. God, you just live and die in every pitch. So one thing, like all sports have their drama moments, but baseball having you say what you want about it during the course of the year, and games are long or boring, but then the tension of every pitch is just enormous.
Don, this is the thing that kills me about baseball. I cannot, for whatever reason, force myself to watch complete regular season games. And you get me to meaningful baseball like this, I cannot look away from it. No sport changes. I know we talk about how great playoff hockey is, but the gap between playoff hockey and regular season hockey isn't nearly as great as the gap between playoff baseball and regular season baseball.
No, I got the strikeout. So guess who's coming up, guys? You want drama?
God.
Who do you think's coming up?
Oh, God.
How about
Ronald?
A little Travis d'Arnaud? How about that? The former Met trying to put the screws to the Mets with a runner in scoring position. Remember, Michael?
I believe the proper.
Remember,
I think it's d'Arnaud. Pretty sure.
Remember when they said the pitch clock was going to take away from all the drama at the end of games? I disagree.
So the former Met catcher against Diaz.
Yeah, this is
0-1.
You know what? If you wrote a script, from the continuity director say, no, this is too much. This is too much. So, whew.
Don,
this is a Monday.
Don, you sweating?
Listen, I'm 56 years old. I got a mortgage, but when I was 18 years old, I'd be in a.
You're still feeling it, though. I can tell
listen,
you're feeling it.
You gotta feel it, man. It's your team. It's all on the line. This is it. This isn't somebody else's team. This is an observation from afar. This is it. This is why you get involved in this.
One strike away.
This is why you get involved in sports radio, because we're all fans, and we live for these moments. Another pitch underneath the knees.
I got to knock on wood. I got to tell you, Diaz has had a few nice pitches here in this inning.
He has, and the base hit was just a bloop. So he's looked good. He's looked strong.
And he should have gotten out of that at bat also.
This is his 40th pitch. So.
Well, they're a little behind the 8 ball for Game 1 tomorrow.
Yeah, but you know what?
Listen,
score a ton
you just
of
got to
runs,
dream
it
of
won't
Game
matter.
1 now.
Severino pitches a complete game. It's all forgiven. I just want that opportunity to blow up in their face. And I don't want to say anything, but he gets out of a ground ball to short. Mets are in the playoffs.
How do you like that?
They take a knee season. What are they doing? They're not making any moves. They're giving up. They're just getting you ready for 2025. And the 2024 New York Mets are a wild card team. How about that?
Wow.
Let's listen to Lindor's home run called by Howie Rose on 880.
Johnson ready. His first pitch to Lindor. Swinging a high fly ball. Well hit right center. Harris going back. It's on the way. It is gone. Into the Braves bullpen in right center field. Francisco Lindor has an MVP moment. Whether he wins one or not, he has just put the Mets back on top. 8-7. A 2-run home run. His 33rd of the year. He's not only hugged by Marte. Marte lifts Lindor off of his feet. This is an unbelievable baseball game. The Mets have taken an 8-7 lead here in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
What a great call by Howie and a great moment. I mean, a great moment. If the Mets do something in the playoffs, we're going to remember this game for a long time.
Again, I'm going to talk about it because I really think he deserves serious consideration. I just wonder, Michael, he's not going to win it, I know. But if you were if you're a voter on the fence about Ohtani or Lindor, this game's on national television. You're watching this game. I wonder if that's enough to make you decide Lindor, if you're on the fence.
Yeah, I just don't know how you're on the fence because the year that Ohtani had is so extraordinary. I don't know if you could be on the fence. But if that on the fence voter exists, I mean, this has to move the needle, right?
He's A-plus defender, and I'm telling you, watching every game, you know how much I consume the Mets, that this is not happening without him. It's not happening without him. Now, is there a scenario in which the Dodgers still win the division or make the playoffs without Ohtani? I don't know. Again, I don't watch them every single day. But I'm telling you, as somebody who watches the Mets every single day, this is not happening without Francisco Lindor. Not happening. This is probably everything we thought this season was going to be. That this was going to be a non-playoff team, maybe a little better than expected, but they probably would have finished with maybe, around 500, maybe under, and then gearing up for 2025. And this team's, going to the playoffs because of him. That, to me, is the definition of most valuable player. You want to say who the best player is. You want to say who the player of the year is. But when you think of most valuable, it's a team that was looked upon as taking a knee, a team that looked like they didn't have any chance of making the playoffs. And Lindor has the season of his life and carries this team to the postseason. That's got to deserve some consideration to me. It just has to.
And here's the call on the final out.
Diaz sets the 2-2 pitch. Swinging a bouncing ball, slowly hit to short. Waiting on it, Lindor. He's got it. Throws to first. Put it in the box. Diaz slams the glove down. He is pounced on by Alvarez. And the New York Mets are headed to postseason play in what has been a memorable season. There were 11 games under 500 in late May. They have stormed all the way back, and metaphorically, they did so today.
Yes, they did. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed it, and if you're listening to us or watching us on Yes, you didn't see it, but he gets the last out, and then Alvarez leaps in his arm, and it's like Diaz said no, and he jumped away, because remember, Diaz got hurt in the WBC celebrating the championship.
That's right. I don't know if it was that or just being physically exhausted, but no, I did notice that. But this was a playoff game today. It was. It wasn't your normal playoff game, considering there was, the margin for error for the game later today with the doubleheader. But to be down 3-0, to be dead, to score the 6 runs, only to give it right back, and then to get off the mat again and survive, that looks like, to me, all of the makings of a team that can handle the postseason. And they're going to go in and let's see what they do. It could still be the Padres. If the Mets were to win today, now it's going to be tough going up against Chris Sale in a game they know they don't need to have. Now, they won the season series against the Padres. Did not look great this year against Milwaukee. But
no, Milwaukee runs too much.
But considering the fact that you don't have to bust it in this second game, travel a little bit easier going to Milwaukee than having to go to San Diego. Now, from what I understand, we have a 5:30 first pitch if it's in Milwaukee. It'll be an 8:30 first pitch if it's in San Diego tomorrow. So, Michael, as much as they play well against the Padres, that's a really good team. So are the Brewers. But considering everything this team went for, I think it's going to be tough to get on a plane and fly, 2,500 miles to San Diego for a game tomorrow. I think I just take on the Brewers and take my chances. What do you do?
You know what? Both teams are tough. Milwaukee runs, and the Mets do not control the running game all that much, although with Torrens they do, but not so much with Alvarez. And you could see what Milwaukee did in the first 2 games of the weekend series. They're going to run against the Mets, but I think I agree with you. I'd rather face Milwaukee, which is not as good of a team as the Padres. Both teams have exceptional bullpens. It's a tough call, but you're in. Yeah, once you're in, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
We've seen anything can happen.
Let's go to Danny in Long Island and see what Danny's thinking. Danny.
Danny is emotionally drained and beyond any recognition.
Try working through
it. I can't. They're down 3-0. I'm driving to work. I throw on the K show because I think this is over. And then to put us through that, they score 6, and then true Met fashion, you give it back only to get it back with Lindor. It's just this is why we watch sports. Every once in a while, you get a Game 6 against, the Astros in '86. You get the Yankees scoring 4 runs, or Pedro in that World Series playoff game. I just don't know what. I'm just drained emotionally. There aren't any words, and in the manner in which they won the game, kind of gives them credence that they're a playoff team, even though they slid the last week and had trouble closing it out. The manner in which they, like, if they would have just won the next game 3-0 against a half a Brave team, it would have been like, kissing your sister. But to win the game in the manner in which they won it, to show some heart, some fortitude, there's nothing you can say to Lindor that's overhyping him. He is an MVP candidate, whether he gets it or not. But I just need to go someplace to sit quietly and maybe have an adult beverage, maybe a bye, whatever the word is, for about the next 4 or 5 hours, because I am just completely emotionally, morally, and just physically ill and exhausted. Thank you, guys. Try to get me through the rest of the day. I can't go on much longer.
Thank you, Danny.
Wow, he's morally ill. That's strange.
You invest this. It's imagine what the players are going through, the emotional roller coaster. But he brought up 86, and that was kind of like what it was reminiscent of, the back and forth. But listen, this team's flawed. We know that there's issues with this team. But what you see in baseball, and I think that's why we've seen so many teams make runs from the wild card, or the best teams don't always win. What would you rather have? The fundamentally sound, no-holes team that you question their heart and ability in a big spot, or a team that just doesn't quit, a team that just keeps fighting and still believing in it? Listen, you want a good team, but I also want a team that mentally can handle it. And they slayed it. This is a big dragon they slayed, Michael. This is the first time. This is the first time that they had faced the Atlanta Braves in a big spot and beat them. It really going back to, you have to go back to '69 when they beat them in the playoffs to go to the World Series for the first time. I mean, this has been their nemesis. This has been their bugaboo. This has been the obstacle they could not overcome for decades. So that's pretty significant. So you go in that room and you can look at your flaws, and they can't hold runners on, and sometimes the offense disappears, and the back end of the bullpen, all the things that you worry about with this baseball team, they can look themselves in the mirror and say, there's a lot of good Met teams that couldn't do what we just did today. And I know the Braves are compromised, but in a game of emotion and juju and things that kind of scare you, they did the job against the Atlanta Braves when a lot of other teams that wore a Met uniform couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's just an amazing game. I mean, again, it's almost a game that has the probability or possibility of using it as a springboard. I mean, you're going to be exhausted tomorrow no matter where you play, if it's Milwaukee or San Diego, but you should be riding on a cloud. Now, one thing Major League Baseball spoke to both teams today or yesterday and said, absolutely no celebration between games. We can't have it because you got to play a second game. So you can celebrate after the game, but you can't celebrate.
No goggles?
No goggles.
Nothing.
No. And it makes...
Maybe after the game, but then after the game, both teams, they want to get on a plane and go.
Yeah, you'd have to be stupid to want to celebrate today. I'm sorry. Go take care of business, guys. Try to keep winning games.
And they got to be careful on the flight, because right now, they're 25 hours away from first pitch of Game 1 of a best-of-3 series that you can't really afford to lose Game 1. And the thing that Alonso kept saying is they couldn't celebrate in 2022 because they blew the division. So when they got the wild card, there was nothing really to celebrate because they just got blown by the Braves and lost out on the division. That now they're not going to be able to celebrate again. Yeah, so you know what you do? Yep. You know what you do, Pete? Go out there, beat the Brewers, and you can celebrate all you want when you head to the divisional round.
Let's go to John in Tom's River. Johnny.
Hi, guys. Good to talk to you. Just a couple comments about Game 2 of this doubleheader coming up now. You got Sale to pitch, which is good. So the Braves are really shot now for their playoff run. Do you lay down, let the Braves win, and just ship Severino to Milwaukee and just prepare for that? Because the Mets win, they go to San Diego.
Boy, that's a good question. I don't know. You don't lay down, but I love the idea of sending Severino ahead. But what if you send him to the wrong place?
No,
so
you don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, if you lay down, if you lose the game, you go to Milwaukee.
Is that the spirit of competition, just to lay down? I mean, I don't think they're going to have an urgency to win, but I don't think they're going to roll over and lay down. I don't think you just roll over and lay down so that you could send Severino. I mean, what if something weird happens? You roll over and lay down and you still win, and then Severino's in the wrong city. So
yeah, you can. And
I don't think you could do it.
How do you do it, Michael? I mean, you can't. You don't want to throw him on a commercial flight. So what, the charter right now flies out to Milwaukee, and what is going to get back in time to fly? No, then you can't.
No. When you fly guys ahead, it's on commercial flights.
Yeah, but would you want? I wouldn't want my pitcher to do that. 24 hours before a game, and then the flight for whatever reason gets delayed. No, I understand the logic of, but the fact that you don't want him having to fly that close to a start, and then like you said, what if they win the game? And then he's got to get on a flight to San Diego. No, you can't do it. Just be smart today. You go with an opener. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, and then you take your chances with the Milwaukee Brewers. You love to stick it to the Braves and beat them. I'm sure the Diamondback fans are all hoping for that, but hey, the Diamondbacks don't have a kick coming. They lost 2 out of 3 to a team that didn't need it in the San Diego Padres. So all the Mets have to worry about is themselves right now, and then play the game any way you want it today.
I'll tell you what, there's so much to unpack with this game. It's going to go down as one of the great Met games. It really is. Now, they've won 2 World Series, so obviously there's great moments in those years, but this got them into the postseason after not making it last year, which was such a disappointing year after they won 101 games a year before, and now they were left for dead. They were 11 games under 500. They started the season 0-5. And they come back and they lose 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee, so it's kind of set up for more heartbreak. They take a 6-3 lead. They give it back. They're losing 7-6. Now it's really set up for heartbreak. And then
don't forget the 3.
It is an unbelievable thing.
Don't forget the 3-0 part. I mean, multiple comebacks just in this game. It's an absolute instant.
Won the series, even though there was a margin because they still had a Game 7, but nobody thought they would beat Scott in that Game 7. But as far as the comeback from 3-0 down and the ebb and flows back and forth, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. That was a day game as well, Michael. I don't know if you remember that Game 6 against the Astros. So, again, this is a regular season game compared to, going to the World Series, but it had that kind of never say die back and forth that Game 6 in '86 had against the Astros.
Well, we have ENN coming up, which is going to be very exciting. I don't know if it's going to be as exciting as Game 1 of this doubleheader.
By the way, there are massive stories we have not yet gotten to. So this is going to be a big ENN.
And you know who's loving this Mets game? Loving this Mets game.
Who?
The Jets.
Who?
The Jets are loving this.
We're not talking about their awful loss. But we will. Anyway,
we'll squeeze it
ENN's coming up in just a moment, right here on Yes and ESPN Radio.
Welcome to the warehouse, where the big leagues meet the backyard. Pro athletes and some not pro athletes. Hearts on the line. Games that matter just enough.
On to the final.
Warehouse Games. Watch all year round on Warehouse Games YouTube.
If you're an asbestos victim, pay close attention. Billions of dollars are being paid out to people like you. We should know. We're Whites and Luxembourg, the law firm that already won over $9 billion for men and women just like you. That's right, over $9 billion for mesothelioma sufferers and their families. We know you're short of money, and we know you're short of time, so we fight hard. Call Whites and Luxembourg at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS. Whites and Luxembourg, winning big for the little guy. Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who were cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
We got nets.
When you see all the people who work at Shriners Hospitals for Children, you might see everyday people just doing their job. But to me and other kids, they aren't just receptionists, therapists, or doctors. They're superheroes. But these superheroes are only able to help all of us kids because of the support of people just like you who empower their abilities so we get the care we need to live our lives like super kids.
Because of people like you, I can play the violin.
I can play piano. And I can walk. Please go to loveshriners.org right away. Help us be superheroes too.
Get 3.9% APR for 36 months plus $1,000 purchase allowance on most 2024 Cadillac models when you finance through Cadillac Financial.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yeah, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
So, there's this guy, Paul Rivera, grew up in the Bronx. Made some mistakes, but eventually becomes one of those hard-working citizens who keep our city going. But he gets pulmonary fibrosis, and his only hope is a lung transplant. When one hospital, Montefiore Einstein, get him a new lung, and they give him a new life. Everyone in his neighborhood is like,
they give that guy a new lung or a new motor.
the story, Mr. Giamatti. Well, you ought to know, Mr. Rivera. You lived it.
The Bombers are set for an epic October run.
Just outstanding.
And Yes is your Yankees postseason home.
This team is set up to go deep into October.
With enhanced pre- and post-game coverage around every playoff game, plus preview specials and exclusive player access.
We're excited to take our shot.
You followed the chase all season. Don't miss Yes's postseason coverage from the network that knows the Bombers best. Begins tonight at 6:30 on Yes and the Yes app.
We are for places of awe and wonder. For monuments and stories that bind us together. We are the National Park Foundation, and with your support, we protect our country's most treasured places. For today and for always. Support today at nationalparks.org.
Gentlemen, welcome to ENN on T-Way Row. Brought to you by Security Dodge. Go see Michelle Scalisi and
Get some!
yeah. And out of the gate, some breaking news. Chris Sale scratched from Game 2 with back spasms for the Braves.
No way. No way.
That is, yes, he has been scratched,
Oh, my
Michael.
goodness.
So it has been a topsy-turvy day for the Atlanta Braves, and now they'll have to do it in Game 2 without Chris Sale.
God.
Now, fortunately,
Well, you should still be able to win a game that the Mets don't need to win.
I was about to say, do the Mets care at all about this game? I mean...
Well, I mean, it does choose who they play.
I don't think you mail it in because that looks bad. You know, you want to do you want to honor the game, but you also don't want to hurt yourself. But you only have 28 guys, right, Michael? It's a 29 because you don't have the extra guy.
No extra guy in September.
No extra guy in September. So you got 28 guys. Somebody has to play. So people don't want to embarrass themselves, Peter, and purposely strike out. But your head's not in the game. You're not going to be as engaged as the Braves are. So you would think that's a distinct advantage to Atlanta. But the Mets just can't mail it in and, play a bunch of scrubs. They've got to play. There'll be guys that'll get a rest, but they're all major leaguers. They're all guys that were on the roster. They're all guys that are part of the team. So
let's start off ENN, please, by saying good evening to Michael and Don.
Who takes things personally like you?
I do.
Let's say good evening to Don. Let's say good evening to myself.
Excuse me, sir. Are you poor?
Also, let's hear a voice sample from last week's guest on the show, Justin Pugh.
I do love my Giants fans out there.
And let's hear the voice of Justin Tuck.
I love the game of football.
Huh. They don't sound similar, Michael.
No, they don't. They don't.
No.
I guess we'll get into this a little later on, unless you want to get into it now.
Oh, no. I mean, there was just an article that came out over the weekend that, in talking about why we were hacks, talked about our interview last week with Justin Tuck. But, of course, we didn't interview Justin Tuck last week. We interviewed Justin Pugh.
And the article was by Phil Mushnick.
Right.
And Phil's big complaint, which I don't even get. No. I mean, I understand some of the hills he dies on. He has a problem with us putting on ESPN personalities, calling us shills. Okay.
Moron.
Anyway, the interesting part is those are the guests that we are able to get easily, and we hardly ever mention the connection, like with Scott Van Pelt. Boom. Monday Night Football tonight. That's it. And then we pick his brain about other stuff. But even if it was like, we are an ESPN vehicle. And if we are forced, which we never are, to actually promote an ESPN show, so what? So what?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird hill to die on. It's moronic. But I expect nothing less.
But you know what gets me, Peter? I'm glad you played the cuts. Because there's one of two things that happen. So Phil has these sycophants that actually listen to things and can't wait to call him. Phil, you can't believe it. So somebody might have called him and told him that was Justin Tuck on Kay's show. Well, there's a couple of things. Can we play the cuts here? Here's Justin Tuck. This is what Justin Tuck sounds like.
I love the game of football.
All right. And here's Justin Pugh.
I do love my Giants fans out there.
Now, in the story, he says that Justin Tuck has an ESPN show. He doesn't.
Right.
Says that he is a defensive lineman, which he is. Now, Justin Pugh does have an ESPN show. He's an offensive lineman.
So it's a hack job no matter what.
Justin Pugh is white and Justin Tuck is black. Right. So if, Phil, you are actually listening, I think there's a little buzz off the fastball there. You might have to consider it might be time for you to actually get that wrong. Here's the thing that I don't understand, guys. We talk extemporaneously for 3 hours a day, and then I throw a game on top of that. We're going to make mistakes. I mean, we're not perfect. But when you're writing, you have a delete button. You can actually check out your facts. And to put that in the news, this is the second time he's done that. Remember the other time he did it? Accused me of saying something when it was Peter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That just happened. Sure.
Michael.
Yeah, it just happened. I mean, wow, how do we believe anything you're writing then?
There's losing your fastball.
Forget about us.
There's losing your fastball, and then there's just rolling it to home plate. Now, if there was any talent and any ability to function, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Justin, Pugh, Tuck, both 4 letters. All right, maybe there's a little bit of confusion. Something got crossed or whatever. But, again, talentless hacks do not get any break from me. Now, this is Don LaGreca saying, and I know Michael doesn't want to go there, but I will. No ability. 0. Why the Post hired him, I have no idea. He must have naked pictures of Murdoch or something because he is awful at what he does. He's always been awful at what he does. And you know what? Write about me all you want. Dog crap is going to fall on it because nobody reads you. Awful. Listen, I'm terrible at what I do, but you know what? There's a few people that think I'm okay. No one thinks you're good. I would just retire and just pretend I never did it. Tell people I pump gas for a living because at least those people have a skill.
Well, let's get into ENN, everyone. We got to start out. We have not made one mention of this, something that on a normal day without so much happening would have definitely already been discussed. But the sports world and the world at large lost by all accounts, a wonderful man. Dikembe Mutombo passed away at 58 years old. The Basketball Hall of Famer, famous for so many things, including that finger wag, all the blocks. Michael will always remember, of course, the huge upset, him holding the ball on the floor when Denver beat Seattle in that first round, that massive upset. Just an all-time great defensive player in the league. His family revealed a couple of years ago that he was undergoing treatment in Atlanta for a brain tumor. According to Adam Silver in the NBA, he died surrounded by his family. Silver said, quote, Dikembe Mutombo was simply larger than life. On the court, he was one of the greatest shot blockers and defensive players in the history of the NBA. Off the floor, he poured his heart and soul into helping others. He was the league's first global ambassador, and according to Silver, he was a humanitarian at his core. He loved what the game of basketball could do to make a positive impact on communities, especially in his native Democratic Republic of the Congo and across the continent of Africa. Guys, I remember him so well from the second he got to Georgetown when I was a kid. And, of course, just an unbelievable career and, by all accounts, a wonderful man. Rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, really sad. 58 years old. And but he's been battling this for a while, and just really sad. You see that pop up on your mentions, you go, wow, what? And, yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he was a Knick for 65 games. He was a net too, bounced around. But the two things that pop into my head in celebrating his life, because there's not too many defenders and shot blockers that almost became household names, Peter.
That's a great point, Tom.
That Geico commercial, which was hilarious, and seeing that go around social media has made me feel better about it. And his play, he just loved the game, and everybody loved him, and just so sad to lose him that early.
Let's stay with basketball for a second, because again, on a normal day, we would have done the whole show about the fact that it's being reported that Karl Anthony Towns is a New York Knick, though the deal is not finalized. Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle heading out to Minnesota, with Cat coming here. Let's hear Alan Hahn spoke to our own Ty Butler about this trade and whether or not the Knicks now match up better with the Sixers and the Celtics with Karl Anthony Towns.
The Knicks are better with Karl Anthony Towns on their roster because they match up better with Boston and Philadelphia. They match up better now with Embiid and with Porzingis. And his ability, Karl Anthony Towns' ability in catch and shoot threes, his shooting percentage on catch and shoot is critical when you consider there's going to be a lot of that in this offense with Jalen Brunson. And he is over 40%, which is better than Kristaps Porzingis. And Embiid doesn't do the catch and shoot stuff. That's not his game. His game is give me the ball and I'm going to kind of be the offense, right? And they're going to have to figure all that out with Paul George and Maxey. But what I'm saying about matching up is the first thing to talk about.
Well, I think they're better. So many people are upset because Julius Randle kind of started this turnaround for the Knicks, I understand. I was actually more of a Randle fan than most people, but it's weird. Most fans are upset about DiVincenzo, and the Timberwolves would make the deal without DiVincenzo because they tried to sign DiVincenzo before he signed with the Knicks, so they were not doing this deal without Dante being in the deal. And the only thing that hurts the Knicks on this is I think they're a better five-man starting team, but the bench got a little weaker. So people on the bench like Deuce McBride, they're going to have to step up and be great. They're going to have to be better. They're going to have to be better off the bench because, Dante DiVincenzo was outstanding.
He was.
So their bench is not as strong as it was.
Because he was built for the way the game is now. How many games did we watch him just dominate from three? And but you got to give to get. You're not going to get these types of players for nothing. But they did lose a little to gain what you hope to be a lot.
We have to give credit, though, to Leon Rose and his front office. What they have done in flipping the image of this franchise in 5 years is just extraordinary. They are now a legitimate championship contender, and they have legitimate superstars on their team.
Well, that's the thing. And, like, Knicks fans, we'll get time this week to talk about this more once it gets finalized. I saw how upset people were on Friday night, and I immediately related, Michael, because of the Marcus Smart trade. And obviously very different roles, but sort of similar in that Julius Randle and Dante are kind of heart and soul guys to this team. I think the Dante part is interesting because he's part of the Nova kids, and like no one wanted that to get broken up. Julius Randle, who fans seem to have a mixed relationship with in terms of the way that he played. Like, sometimes they loved him. Sometimes it was the Randle handle driving them crazy. You couldn't count on him for a big shot late in the game. But he was this lunch pail New York Knick who they loved. And I think there was a lot of emotion about losing them because of what they represented. And I just wanted to, I reminded Knicks fans, like, I was super in my feelings about Marcus Smart. He was the heart and soul player of that Celtics team. And then he was replaced by a better option, and they won a championship the next year. These are the moves that big boy teams make. I understand people thinking Cat is soft, and they think that they lose some strength because of that. And that's a real conversation to be had. But also, you guys wanted another big star. I'm sorry. I like Randall. In terms of, like, actual big-time, legit offensive star, I'm taking Cat over Randall.
And one thing that Randall does, which runs counter to what Brunson does, he chews up, time in the paint. And that takes away the drive to the hoop and the dish by Brunson. That's not going to happen.
And he likes
with Anthony Towns.
And Michael, and Randall likes the ball in his hands.
But
and Towns doesn't need it because he's catch and shoot.
But if there is a negative, and I thought about it after the deal, was how much of the Patrick Beverley stuff from a little while ago, being soft, never, not helping out his teammates. Is that something that should be concerning to anybody? Now, the game isn't all about that. It's not hockey, but there is.
Well, I mean, who knows him better than Tibbs done?
I know exactly. So, but we do remember that element of toughness that we saw in the Philadelphia series. So there are times where you need to step up. And I listen, Patrick Beverley's got his opinion. That is something, when Peter brought it up, it's been bouncing around a little bit. So I just thought about that. If you were weigh pros and cons, how much of a con is that, Michael?
I think that this team is tough enough with Hart and Brunson. I mean, they're very tough players. And let's not forget, not only this offseason did they get Cat, but they got Mikal Bridges, who's great. Yeah. He's a great player. So they have improved, I think, much. I wouldn't say exponentially, but they've improved a great deal over a team that had a chance to go all the way, if not for injuries last year.
And can I just say this to the Knicks fans, super emo about the Nova thing? You still have three.
Right.
They lost one, but they got a better one. I mean, all due respect, Dante's probably the worst of the four. And I know you want to have it all be perfect and it be this cute story, but what would you rather have? The Villanova Wildcat Knicks, who get bounced in the second round? Or you lose one of them and have a chance to compete for a championship? I'm sorry. Put on your big boy pants, Knicks fans, and go be a real contender. You deserve it. You're more than a cute story with Villanova players. You're trying to compete for a title.
I heard a little negative on Bart and Hahn. But I think Knicks fans have to realize this is not the same old Knicks where, like, every big deal comes with some caveat, something's going to go wrong. It's a different world now. But they make smart moves. The moves they make work. There's strategy to it. It's not passion. What do the fans want? They didn't make this move because he's a local kid. They made this move because they know the player. They know what works. This is why, with Hartenstein gone, this is the guy they went out and got. It's all part of a plan. They have a plan, guys. That's what you got to be excited about. Now, we'll see if it ends up working, but this is not throw stuff up against the wall, see what works. They know what they're doing.
Think about this. They have 5 first-round draft picks, right? 5 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges. They only had to give up 1 in this deal. And you could say Karl-Anthony Towns is better than Bridges. And Bridges, I think, is great.
It's going to be, and by the way, this is the crazy thing. As good as this team has been, they're now also a whole new look next year, but with the best pieces that they'd had previously. Guys, a lot of that run late last year, Randall wasn't around for, too. We haven't fully seen how Randall gels completely with the Brunson Hart Knicks. So, like, I think this is
right before he got hurt, they were 14-2 with him, so he looked like he was a fit.
It looked like it was going to be a fit. I still had questions about in the long term, in big moments, how it would work out, having him and Brunson. But I guess now we'll never know. I had a lot of football stuff to get to. I'll have to save it for the NFL yesterday. Next hour, that'll do it for ENN, brought to you by Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during their Ram Power Days.
That was really, really good. And to open up with breaking news.
How about that?
Come on, it was a full ENN. Come on.
I mean, you're really getting good at this.
Thank you. It took time, but I'm here.
Yeah. Don, how about some BetMGM, my friend?
Well, New York football fans are...
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Bigelow Tea, who encourages you to grab a mug and tea proudly.
It's amazing to think that my grandmother started Bigelow Tea right here in New York. And today, we're still a family company. And you have to remember, tea, that's all we do. So every cup counts. That means never compromising. My family won't let that happen. And our extended family, they give their all every single day. And our community, well, they expect that.
I want a cup of Bigelow Tea to be a moment just for you.
That's what I hope for.
Get more for less with Nissan's epic offering of 6 2024 models starting under $30K. Like the award-winning Sentra, the best-selling Rogue, and the all-electric Leaf. All with available Safety Shield 360. Visit your local Nissan dealer to check out the affordable lineup of Nissan vehicles today.
Now get a low $269 per month lease for 36 months on the 2024 Nissan Rogue.
At Manchester City Football School, both boys and girls can train and develop at a world-class facility.
This course helped me develop my football skills a lot.
I have enjoyed learning to play like an actual Manchester City player.
The Bombers are set for an epic October run.
Just outstanding.
And Yes is your Yankees postseason home with enhanced pre- and post-game coverage around every playoff game, plus preview specials and exclusive player access.
We're excited to take our shot.
Begins tonight at 6:30 on Yes and the Yes app.
This is you, and this is your surprising hunch.
I'd take the over.
The kind of hunch that pops up anywhere.
Buffalo. It's Broncos time.
And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 guaranteed.
Carolina!
So you won't let a hunch go to waste and make every moment more.
New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Only from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Hi, I'm Eileen. I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I write mystery novels. As I was writing, I found that I just wasn't sharp, and that doesn't work when you're writing a mystery. And I knew I needed to do something. So I started taking Prevagen. I realized that I was much more clear, much sharper. I was remembering the details that I was supposed to. Prevagen keeps my brain working right.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Mel. Is now good for a quick catch-up on your plan?
Yes, now's great.
Has anything changed since we last spoke?
You know what? Yes, I'm thinking more long-term.
Great. We'll make that change to your plan and adjust as needed.
This helps a lot.
Bye, Mel.
Bye. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the Garrett Wilson Report. Garrett joins the guys each week to talk everything gangrene. Submit your question for Garrett on the ESPN New York app for a chance to win an autographed football. Find the Ask Garrett page in the contest tiles. All right, so here's what we know about the Mets situation. The second game has just started. If the Mets lose this game, then they will go to Milwaukee. So the Mets do have some incentive if they want to avoid Milwaukee. If the Mets win Game 2 of the doubleheader, they'll clinch the number 2 wild card, number 5 seed overall, and visit the number 1 wild card, which would be San Diego. Arizona would be the number 3 wild card, number 6 seed overall, and they would visit Milwaukee. That would be if Atlanta would be eliminated. Now, if Atlanta wins Game 2 of the doubleheader, they'll clinch the number 2 wild card and the 5 seed overall and visit San Diego. New York would be the number 3 wild card and visit National League Central champ Milwaukee in wild card Series A, and Arizona would be eliminated. So, Don, as a Met fan, you've got to make a decision right now. Where do you want to play if you could choose? You want to play San Diego or you want to play Milwaukee? Because if you lose, you're going to Milwaukee.
Now, I think the Padres are a better team than the Brewers. But I think the Mets actually match up better against San Diego. They played well against them. They had a winning record against them this year. Split the 4 games in San Diego. I like the whole, get them for what happened 2 years ago when they came to Citi Field and beat you. Brewers, the Mets have a hard time with Milwaukee. I think they've lost like 3 of the last 8 or lost like 5 of the last 8, something like that. That's not a great record against them, but travel's a little easier. Rather than having to go all the way across the country. God, but I do think it's kind of sexy to knock the Braves out, isn't it?
Mets just went down 1-2-3 on 7 pitches, so that tells you not working the count.
No.
Not so much.
But again, when you look at the lineup, no Lindor, but you got Nimmo, you got Alonso, you got Marte, Taylor, Bader. So there's no Alvarez. Obviously, Terens is the catcher. So they don't have scrubs up there. But you're right. But their mentality probably, let's get the heck out of here as quick as possible so we can get to our next city as fast as possible. So,
well, the one thing that Milwaukee gives you too is a shorter flight.
Well, that's why I would probably, if everything's equal, I'd rather have the Padres than the Brewers. But considering that it's not equal, that's a quicker flight. Just, it's a quick turnaround, Michael. Atlanta to Milwaukee, what is that, like maybe 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
You buzz through this game, you hurry up, you get out of Dodge, and just get a decent night's sleep and get ready for this game rather than fly all the way across the country. And listen, both of us have had the absolute pleasure of flying on charters. So it's not like taking a commercial flight from Atlanta to San Diego. But it's still in the air for a long period of time, getting in late, not getting the sleep, because it's going to be a 5:30 local time first pitch. So it's not going to be your normal, 7:30, 8 o'clock game. It's supposed to be at 8:30 Eastern time. So that's 5:30 in San Diego. So what time are you going to get into San Diego? It's already 5 o'clock, and we're at the bottom of the first inning. So Michael, what time would they get into San Diego?
All right, so let's say the game lasts 2.5 hours.
All right.
So that goes to 7:30. Then it takes an hour to leave the ballpark. That's 8:30. Then it usually takes an hour to load the luggage and all the equipment onto the plane. So, that's 9:30. So from Atlanta to San Diego, I would say it's a 5-hour flight, maybe 4.5 if you push it. So if you're leaving at 9:30, you're getting in at 1:30, 1:30 Eastern time. But it would be 10:30.
You're going to get
West Coast time.
Yeah, it's not awful. Get right to sleep. It's not terrible, but it's like a long flight. Where Milwaukee, you'll get there in half the time, and you probably stay in a hotel that you've been in the last few days anyway. Maybe even get to stay in the same room. Listen, neither's a cakewalk. Those are two fabulous teams. But I think because of the logistics, I would probably take Milwaukee.
Now, the Mets are starting Joey Lucchesi, so they saved Severino. Now, we'll talk about this when we get back, but just want to throw it out there. Would Brian Snitker have the onions to not pitch Sale just so he could start him in Game 1 of the wild card series? Because, I mean, you don't think Chris Sale would pitch through let's put it this way. I think it gets answered tomorrow, Don, if the Braves make it and Chris Sale starts.
Well, you
don't get over a bad back that quickly.
Well, it's not a bad back, it's back spasms, right? So is that something that, all right, I'm fine now. He was warming up, felt back spasms, and decided to sit. You can't take that chance. Really, you can't. Why would you ever, as a real good manager, Michael, why would you plan for something that's not guaranteed? I understand it puts you at a disadvantage the next series not having an 18-game winner or possibly 19-game winner if you won the game tonight, starting Game 1. But you don't have that luxury. You got to win the game. Listen, they've got professionals. It's not like the Mets are throwing a minor league team out there.
Edwin Diaz told the pitching coach, Jeremy Hefner, that he was out of the game in the top of the 9th inning. He was done. But after Lindor's home run, Diaz said he wanted to go back out. Carlos Mendoza pushed back, but Diaz insisted.
It's really interesting, Michael. Doesn't that sound very familiar? Do you remember Harvey in the World Series?
Oh, yeah.
Where you let the pitcher dictate it, and we killed Terry Collins for it. I didn't. I was kind of on the fence. You killed him, I think I remember. Like, come on, you got to do what's best for the team. You can't be influenced by the crowd. You can't be influenced by the player. Listen, Mendoza was influenced by the player, Michael, and if he had blown it again, and then when you tell that story, how would it look? Now, there wasn't a lot.
I think he was influenced by the player because he had no other option. I mean, you don't want to go to what they had left in the bullpen.
But he wasn't going to have him go out there. And then Diaz said, "I want to," and he's like, "Okay." So even with the lack of options, it sounded like Mendoza wanted to go with those options ahead of Diaz now having to go out there and throw 40-plus pitches after 26 the day before to be able to get it done. So, again, results are always what wins the day, right? Harvey couldn't get it done, so Collins looks bad. Diaz got the job done, and now it's a great story. That'll go, that'll be right there when they write the book about the season.
All right, we're going to come back. We'll break down how the Mets shape up against Milwaukee and also against San Diego of late. And we talk some Yankees as well. Had a couple of bad breaks over the weekend, and that's literal. Right here on Yes and ESPN Radio.
Get 3.9% APR for 36 months plus $1,000 purchase allowance on most 2024 Cadillac models when you finance through Cadillac Financial.
So, there's this guy, Paul Rivera, grew up in the Bronx, made some mistakes, but eventually becomes one of those hard-working citizens who keep our city going. But he gets pulmonary fibrosis, and his only hope is a lung transplant. Why one hospital, Montefiore Einstein, get him a new lung, and they give him a new life. Everyone in his neighborhood is like,
they give that guy a new lung or a new motor.
The story, Mr. Giamatti. Well, you ought to know, Mr. Rivera, you lived it.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
If you're an asbestos victim, pay close attention. Billions of dollars are being paid out to people like you. We should know. We're Whites and Luxembourg, the law firm that already won over $9 billion for men and women just like you. That's right, over $9 billion for mesothelioma sufferers and their families. We know you're short of money, and we know you're short of time, so we fight hard. Call Whites in Luxembourg at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS. Whites in Luxembourg, winning big for the little guy.
I started having knee pain in my early 50s. I'm Phil Simms, pro football legend and TV analyst. My knee pain would wake me up during the middle of the night. It hurt me every time I played sports, if it was basketball, tennis, and even golf. I quit being active, and it got to a point where I want to be active, and that's why I'm sitting here today.
Arthritis Knee Pain Centers uses an image-guided procedure that allows them to place an all-natural cushioning gel directly into the affected joint, restoring mobility and relieving your pain without surgery or downtime.
I think what really surprised me is how easy it was and how there was no pain to the treatment.
It's covered by Medicare and most private insurance.
I have no pain. That's gone away, and I got to tell you, I feel great. I'm back to playing a little tennis. Played pickleball, which I said I would never do. Arthritis Knee Pain Centers, they relieve my pain and changed my life.
Call Arthritis Knee Pain Centers now and schedule your no-charge, no-obligation knee pain screening. Call 800-823-3160.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your Ford dealer is the place to start. With a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains. Get your ideal combination of power and capability with gas, hybrid, or all electric. But more important than the power you choose is what you choose to do with it.
Right now, returning lessees can lease a Ford F-150 for $299 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Say hello to the Bronx Buds, Yes's first ever animated series for the whole family. Now streaming exclusively on the Yes app. Brought to you by HexClad.
Here we go, let's go, yeah.
The Bombers are set for an epic October run.
Just outstanding.
And Yes is your Yankees postseason home.
This team is set up to go deep into October.
With enhanced pre- and post-game coverage around every playoff game, plus preview specials and exclusive player access.
We're excited to take our shot.
You followed the chase all season. Don't miss Yes's postseason coverage from the network that knows the Bombers best. Begins tonight at 6:30 on Yes and the Yes app.
Ethan was shot in the head in his best friend's house with an unsecured gun. The father, the gun owner, he stored his 3 guns and bullets in a shoebox. That has to be the most horrific experience that a human could ever have.
The Mets won a thrilling first game of the doubleheader, clinching a playoff berth. And you know, we have a lot of Yankee fans that watch and listen to this show. And, you kind of rolling your eyes. They're making such a big... You know what? They don't make the playoffs that often in their history, Don. It's a big deal. And the way they did it in that first game, it's a bigger deal. I mean, to fall... losing 3-0, then scoring 6 runs to go up 6-3, then watching the Braves score 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to go down 7-6, and then Lindor hit a 2-run home run. That is major drama, man, to get into the postseason, a place where the organization has not been to quite enough.
Why can't you just appreciate, what's happening here? I don't want to compare it to the Yankees or anybody else. This was a season that wasn't supposed to be anything. We talked a lot about The fact that they looked like they were taking a knee, wait till the better free agent, signing one-year contracts. Well, let's call it what it is. One-year contract is somebody that's very easy to move at the deadline. I was one screaming in early May when there were 11 games under 500. Sell, sell, sell. This team's not going anywhere. And for them to be able to make the playoffs, even though it's just a wild card, hey, an 84-win team in the Arizona Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year. So it's an opportunity to be able to play in the postseason. Mets have not been in the postseason since 22. Before that, it was 2016. So I don't think I should ever have to apologize for being excited about having a surprise season like this. All right, the Yankees go to the playoffs every single year, Peter. Okay, good for them. That's good. That's where they are. I want to try to get to that point. And how you get to that point is learning how to win. And if you're any kind of just a fan of competition, if you couldn't see that drama and just going to downplay it as, oh, it's just two teams battling for a wild card spot, looking down at the Philistines as these guys are playing, then why do you even follow sports, man? That's captivating stuff. And to be on the winning end of it, Peter, I'm not going to apologize for that. That's fun.
That's the thing. So today, real quick, obviously the main topics were the Knicks, of course, but probably even more so the horrible performance from the Jets yesterday and how upset Jets fans are. Are you really going to be upset that the conversation that's now sort of shifted and taken over is an incredibly glorious win for one of the local teams that now plays in the playoffs tomorrow?
You can't get upset. It should be met with glee by Met fans. It was a game for the ages.
No,
met with glee.
Every Met fan's excited about that, and it's fun because it's an opportunity to see what this team can do. This is not like the NBA where you're an 8 seed. I know the Knicks made a run back in 99, and we saw the Heat the other year make a run. But for the most part, it's like, we're just going to be a sacrificial lamb. We're going to get pounded in the first round. But don't you feel like, why not us? Why can't we make a run? Anytime you make the playoffs in sports now, the feeling is we can be that team. And I saw it, and I was fortunate enough on the football side to see the Giants do it not once but twice. You're happy to make the playoffs. Next thing you know, you're playing in the championship game, and you're going to a Super Bowl, and you win it. Now, I'm not saying this team's going to win a World Series. They're certainly not going to be the favorite to maybe even get out of the first round, but just the opportunity to do this in a season where it looked like they weren't going to go anywhere. And this is a sport that really honors these types of runs. Look how where the Nationals were at the All-Star game a couple of years ago, and they win the World Series. The Mets to see the other end of it, where they win 101 games and the Braves blow by them in the last second, and the Mets get bounced in the first round. To be able to go in with a little momentum, that's a fun thing. And I think this team's got a real chance to make some noise.
Now, if the Mets win the second game of the doubleheader, they go to Milwaukee. If they lose, they go to San Diego. So the Mets are 4-16 in their last 20 games in Milwaukee. That's according to StatMuse. They are 9-11 in their last 20 at San Diego. Now, the Mets are actually better in Atlanta, 6-14 the last 20, including today, than they are in Milwaukee. So think about that. And Atlanta's been a house of horrors. And when you look at Milwaukee, though, they do something the Mets don't handle very well, and they run. Mm-hmm. They run all the time. Everybody runs. It's almost like double-digit steals up and down the lineup, and they run on any score. They run on any count. They're just an aggressive team coached by a guy or managed by a guy who was a coach in college. So he has that kind of mindset. He's going to push the envelope, and I don't think that fits with the Met pitchers who don't hold runners that well. And Francisco Alvarez doesn't throw out runners that well. Torrens does. Yeah. But you're not going to take Alvarez's bat out of the lineup to control the running game. So maybe the Mets match up better with San Diego. I don't know. Maybe they do. And I think, I'm like you, Don. I think San Diego's a better team than Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think San Diego's got a real chance, but it's all about matchups. The Mets have won 5 of 7 games against the Padres, have an earned run average of 2.93 against San Diego this year. J.D. Martinez, who's kind of been a non-player recently, he's 8 for 20 against the Padres this season. So here's what it comes down to. I was thinking about this during the break. So you're a Met fan, and the Mets have a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 9th inning. Are you hoping they hold on to the lead, or are you hoping they blow it?
Well, let's bring in a colleague of ours who, like you, Don, is a big Met fan. And I was just wondering what he was doing during that Game 1 and what he's feeling right now. And that is one of the stars of our morning show, DiPietro and Rothenberg. Dave Rothenberg joins us now over the phone. Dave, thoughts, hopes, feelings, what are you going through?
Well, thanks for having me. I'd like to correct something you said, that not one of the stars of the morning show, and I'll let you read into that how you'd like.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Be positive or negative.
Yeah. I mean, how am I feeling? I mean, that was nothing short of sensational. I mean, the Mets don't have the track record the Yankees have, where we have 27 world championships and everything is like World Series or bust. This is awesome. This is nothing short of awesome for me. I am absolutely, unequivocally thrilled. I'm torn now because I don't know if I want to win this game, and then I'd love to knock the Braves out.
Yeah.
But do you want to knock the Braves out and then go to San Diego? I don't play that game anymore. Whatever happens in this game happens in this game.
But I'm starting to think.
Well, if you knock the Braves out, you go to Milwaukee.
If you knock the Braves out,
no.
If you win, if you win
Oh.
2 in a row, you go. If you win if you win both games, you go to San Diego. You're right. And if you split, you go to Milwaukee.
And Dave, I just gave the scenario before you called in about, like, if it's 3-2 in the bottom of the ninth inning, I'm going to probably root for the Mets to win the game, knock the Braves out, and go to San Diego. The more I start to think about it, maybe it's because of what just happened this weekend in Milwaukee, or how bad it, at the start of the season, getting swept by them at Citi Field. The flight notwithstanding, I think I take the Padres.
Yeah, I don't. It's like these are two really, really difficult matchups. I mean, I don't understand exactly how Milwaukee is so good, but they are, and they're a real problem, and they run like crazy against the Mets on the bases. San Diego has real star power. They've been the best team in baseball since last couple of months. So I don't know. And truthfully, I don't really care. Just getting in. What a wonderful day. The highs and the lows just in like that 45-minute span. The game was over. Then they take a 4-3 lead. No, it's a prodigious blast, and I'm totally convinced they're going to win. Then Diaz comes in. How do you forget to cover first base? He forgets to cover first base. They fall behind. They take the lead again. They leave him in the game. I mean, guys, it reminded me of the 86 NLCS against Houston in like that game 6 where back and forth, but I couldn't be happier about this club right now.
All right, but I need to get inside your soul because you're an emotional sort.
Yeah.
From what I hear.
Very.
So when they take the lead after trailing 3-0, what's going on in your mind?
So in my mind is, oh my God, they have a real chance to win. And then when Nimmo hits the home run, I'm fully convinced they're going to win. And then Diaz, they bring in Maton. He gets the one out, one guy on. Then they take him out of the game. Diaz comes in, falls apart. I lose my composure. I know you find that hard to believe, but I become infuriated. I'm cursing. I'm throwing things. I'm furious.
Love it.
Then Lindor, I'm sure you do. Lindor comes up, and it was weird. I think, Gary Cohn is terrific, but his call was weird because he said he got under it. So I was like, oh, God, got under it. And then it just kept going and going and going and going and left the park. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, Michael, and you can appreciate this because you know how troubled I am with the Giants. That was as close to a Giants-esque moment as I've had in quite some time.
And by the way,
Peter, everything all right?
He said no. I heard Michael say, "Were you nude?" So I sorry.
Yeah, were you nude, Peter?
And then that image popped in your head, and you didn't know what to say.
Yeah, and he wasn't nude. I'll answer for him, but I understand why Gary said it. Lindor did get on.
You know I wasn't naked. I might have been totally naked, running around my house, scaring everybody.
Oh,
you can't just say I wasn't naked. I wasn't. You're right. I don't think you can say that. Just have a fact. I wasn't naked.
I don't relate to.
No, I don't. No, I don't bother, Don. Now, Dave, you are a historian. What other games come to mind all time for you with that level of back and forth where you think you got it, you don't got it, you got it?
I mean, 86. It really, 80s, like that was playoff baseball for me. That was Astros 86. That was Red Sox 86. It's not the same magnitude of importance. Obviously, that's, NLCS and that's World Series, but that's what it felt like. It felt like the game was just back and forth. And I don't know if you guys feel like this. I mean, Don, you might because you're the Mets fan. like I have 100% confidence the Braves win this game and they still get into the playoffs. If the Mets lose a game like that, they probably blow Game 2, and don't even get into the postseason. So it's not the same as '86, but if you say what did it feel like, that was for me a postseason game. It felt like '86.
The Braves 1-0 lead in the bottom of the second inning. Michael, we have a little bit of an issue tomorrow.
What's happening?
Because the listener that won dinner with me and Dave, it was really difficult to schedule because you can't do Mondays for Dave because there's football. You can't do Thursday because there's football. So we finally came down with a day, and the day is tomorrow.
Well, how can you get
So
dinner when
this
the Mets
listener is going to have dinner.
Wait.
And we're logistically we're trying to move the dinner. It was originally set for like 6:30. Then I would show up a little bit later after the show. But if the Mets play the Brewers, we're going to be off the air at 5:30 for the Met game. So they moved the dinner to 5:30. Dave, how are we going to have dinner with this guy and be engaged?
No. And further, and Don, also let me add to that. How much of a psycho are you, Dave, that your own psychosis has put you here?
Right.
Because tonight you could have stepped out on Titans, Dolphins, Seahawks, Lions.
What a great
And instead, now you're dealing with the Mets playoff game.
You're not wrong. I mean, I've really stepped right in it on my own. I mean, what are the odds that the Mets would play at 5:30? 8:30 I can get away with, right? I mean, 2 o'clock I could get away with. I mean, Don, you're going to get to see inside the belly of the beast. It's going to be maniacal tomorrow night at 5:30. But I will tell you this. I think I might be less crazed tomorrow than I was today. Because at least today, there was no tomorrow. Tomorrow, that if they lose, there is a potential Game 2 and Game 3.
Well,
Dave, I'm glad that you could share your feelings with us, and Peter's right. This is karma. You could have. I mean, what do these games to you mean tonight? Nothing. Tomorrow means everything. I don't get it.
Well,
You got snapped by karma.
I mean, I care about football. I love football.
But do you care more about you care more about Titans Dolphins than the Mets playoff game tomorrow? That's my question.
Well, you know what? It's a win for me. I get to take this game. It's not like I can't watch the Mets. I get to watch the game with Don. That's a win for me. Don and I never get to watch games
You're
together.
not going to be paying attention to the fan. You're going to be squirming. You'll be screaming and cursing.
No, the fan becomes, unfortunately for him, he becomes irrelevant. It's going to be me and the Mets and Don on the side.
I don't think that was the station's trying to sell that. You should try to downplay that a little bit. But this is
probably not.
This is the karma. But this is the karma. This is what, because we could very easily have done this on any other day, but whatever. We're going to make it work. I've seen Dave. We actually watched a Giant game together back in 2016 up in Bristol. He's like a caged animal. So I think this listener is in for more than he expects watching the Mets with myself and Dave. But we're going to make it work, Michael. It's going to be fun. At Blondie's, you're all
Dave, I know. Please tell everybody I said hello. Dave, you and Rick have a great show tomorrow starting at 6.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Love you.
Love you.
Love you back.
What a guy.
Wow. That is going to be really that's going to be a bacchanal tomorrow, Don.
Yeah, it'll be fun because what you got to be honest though, as engaging as playoff baseball is, I mean, I think we can do two things at once. I think you.
Yeah, but this is best of 3. You lose one game,
but it doesn't. The game's going to be on. Believe me, they've worked it all out. So we're going to be on it.
You know what, Don? I appreciate you. You know what, Don? I appreciate you because we know you are not a guy who believes in going out for big games. But I'm glad you're not going so far to the point that you don't think it's possible to go out and watch a big game.
But the fact that we have to do it because he could. Now, I understand not doing it on a Thursday when the Giants and Cowboys are playing or when the Jets or Patriots are playing. That doesn't make any sense. But just Mondays and Thursdays were out no matter who was playing. Does that make any sense? Yeah. And I love football too, but come on. So this is karma biting him right in the fanny.
That's who he is, though. It does make sense because it makes no sense. It's time now for the Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. Losing Anthony Rizzo is not insignificant, everybody. It's just not. Now, when he came back from the IL, was he hitting home runs? No, he was not. But, boy, when you watch people play first base that aren't great at first base, and then the guy that's great at first base comes back, you realize how valuable he is. And he was scooping balls out of the dirt. He saved Volpe about 2 errors. He saved Chisholm about 3 errors. I think he saved an error for Gleyber Torres. He's an exquisite first baseman, and he's not what he used to be, but he's still pretty darn good. That is tough. And the one thing I don't like, I don't know if you guys took exception to this as well, he breaks 2 bones in his fingers on his right hand after getting hit with a pitch. And then afterward, it's well, you know what? He could play with it. It's up to his pain tolerance. So you're putting it on him. I mean, you know how hard it is to swing a bat with 2 broken bones in your hand? Pain tolerance. It's going to be excruciating.
Yeah, that's
why I don't think he's going to play in. I don't think he's going to play in the games.
So you go Rice. You go.
So now you're going to have Oswaldo Cabrera at first, or you're going to have Ben Rice at first. And they both do nice jobs, but they are not, especially defensively, they're not Anthony Rizzo. That was a big break.
No, that's what stinks about it, Michael, because it's not going to be Anthony Rizzo. And you're so right, because I saw with John Olerud back when the Mets had him. Like, you don't think anything. First base, defense doesn't top to mind, but going back to Keith Hernandez, Don Mattingly, it changes everything. Every throw now has the potential to be an out, not an error. When you don't have a good first baseman, Michael, it really devalues your entire infield. And
then think about it. The Yankees went from Tino, who was great, right? Great first baseman, to Giambi. I love Jason. He was a hack at first.
Right.
But then you got used to it because, he's there 7 years. And then you almost didn't realize how much you're missing. And then Teixeira shows up and you go, oh, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be played. So it's a huge loss for the Yankees, huge. Now the Yankees are all set up, though, on who they're going to play. They might play the Orioles, Peter. It's the Orioles against the Royals, the winner of that plays the Yankees, and now it's the Astros against the Tigers, and the winner of that plays the Guardians. So the Yankees might have to face the Orioles again. The Orioles are one of the teams that beat the Yankees in the season series, and it all starts Saturday at Yankee Stadium, Saturday night. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the Royals are no cakewalk. Again, I don't believe in any of those Central Division teams, Michael, but there's something about the Royals that's tough too, right? I mean, so who do you think they'd rather have? Who would they match up better against?
I think you'd rather face the Royals. I mean, the Royals have good starting pitching, but I just don't think their lineup without Pasquantino is enough. I just don't. So I think your pitching will be able to shut them down, and if you could scratch some runs out against a Singer or Seth Lugo or get into their bullpen, I'd take the Royals over the Orioles for sure. But I think the Orioles are going to beat the Royals.
And these
that's the pinstripe.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, finish the read, man.
No, you go. No, you go. No, please go.
There is an issue, Michael. I know you get to line up your rotation, but it's just so jarring, right? They almost a week off. And also the Pirate games meant nothing. Right, especially Sunday,
and they played like it.
So, and then you're going to have a team coming off winning a best-of-3 series, and you sit for a week. I think that's why there's been such an advantage for these wild card teams. That's a longer break than the All-Star weekend or the All-Star break.
Oh, absolutely. It's something. And if you look at the numbers, the number 1 seed does not play well since we went to this format in 2022. That's the Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. For pain-free life, visit SamwellPain.com today. All right, we'll come back with your phone calls. We have the NFL yesterday as well. It's Kayla Greco, Rosenberg, and you on Yes and on ESPN Radio.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
You can win big on Hard Rock Bet with a little bet.
Yeah.
Or a Post Malone size bet.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't need to know everything about every sport.
Good, because I don't.
Yeah, me either. All you need is a feeling and a phone.
Oh my gosh, I won.
You definitely need a phone.
We're good.
Big payouts for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
When your child needs her wisdom teeth out, how will you deal with the pain? Are opioids the answer? A child prescribed opioids is 16 times more likely to develop an opioid use disorder. In New Jersey, thousands of families lose a loved one to the opioid epidemic.
I am so sorry. I didn't choose an alternative to opioids.
Don't let her toothache lead to your heartache. Be wise about wisdom teeth. Go to drugfreenj.org.
We got nets.
At this very moment, Doctors Without Borders is on the ground in communities around the world, delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most. Our teams are bandaging war-wounded patients caught in the crossfire in Sudan, providing clean drinking water in Haiti, and performing emergency C-sections in Yemen. Doctors Without Borders teams are in over 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving work is made possible by our movement of supporters, people like you who help our patients even when they're half a world away. At Doctors Without Borders, we won't stop working to bring our patients and their communities from crisis to care.
Popeye's wings are the official wing of watching football. Win the wing game every week with 7 signature flavors, including new sweet and smoky chipotle. We don't make sense, we make chicken. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
My name is Karan and I'm from Brooklyn. I work for the city of New York as a police administrator. I oversee approximately 20 people and my memory just has to be sharp. And I realized my memory was just changing. I did my own research and I decided to give Prevagen a try. My memory became much sharper. I remembered more. I've been taking Prevagen for 4 years now. It's a life changer.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. These highlights are brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees.
Post tweets out, just one man's opinion, but that's almost certainly the greatest game in Mets regular season history and probably belongs in no particular order alongside Game 6, 1986 NLCS, and Game 6 of the 86 World Series in the top 3 games in team history.
He's not wrong. I mean,
is this?
I saw it.
I know, but
go ahead.
It's not. This isn't us doing. Don't get me wrong. It was amazing. But for the amount of baseball that's been played, that's not being a little prisoner of the moment?
But not really, because what other games would you throw out in the regular season? I mean, they had a play-in game against the Reds that was, a great performance by Leiter, but it wasn't the back-and-forth excitement that you saw from the game today. There was, when they clinched the playoff berth in '73, the last day of the season at Wrigley Field in Chicago, kind of a nondescript game.
But real quick, Don, that's not the part that I'm thinking about. Vaccaro says alongside Game 6, 86 NLCS, and Game 6 of the World Series, number 3 ever? I mean, don't get me wrong. It was their history certainly much better than I do. That just seems hyperbolic to me.
It seems it, but if you think about it, and I've been thinking about it, really since the game ended, and certainly even more so when Vaccaro tweeted it out, I'm trying to think of another game that would be in that conversation. Obviously, those 286, that's 1 and 2, whatever order you want to put it in. Is the World Series bigger than the League Championship Series? So you want to put the game against the Red Sox ahead of it. But what other games would you talk about? It's in the conversation. I understand prisoner of the moment, but going through my mind right now, and I'll think about it more, I'm trying to come up with another game that could be comparable besides those 2 and 86.
1-800-919-3776 is the number. Let's take some phone calls. Let's go to Luke in Miami. Luke.
Hey, Mike, Don, Peter. How you guys doing?
What's up?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm great. I'm not, just to clear the air, I'm not a Mets fan. I'm not a Yankees fan. That game earlier was phenomenal. That was the best baseball game. I haven't been up for a game like that in a long time. I mean, I'm a Mariners fan, so what are you going to do? But my question is, why? It just stinks when I turn on I listen to you guys all the time, but it always skews negative because of the callers and because of the tweets or whatever. But my question is, why do you guys, do you have to engage it because it's the only thing you guys are getting?
Well, what have we said negative about that game? What have we said negative about
not that game? But yeah, no, not that game, but it just creeps back in when the Yankees come up, or like yesterday it just seems very negative, and then you guys, unfortunately, talk about it for 10 minutes how we hate all the negative fans, and it's kind of a bummer, and I just wonder, why you guys even bring it up if then it just turns the whole show.
Well, I mean, if you've listened to talk radio, and we thank you for the phone call, people that are negative call in more than people that are positive. So what, are we going to not take their phone calls?
No, sometimes I wish we would.
Sports radio is driven on negativity.
True. But, during the course of a year, because I think the fans in New York are so passionate that they kind of skew negative just because they're so invested. It's all right, you did something great. All right, what's the next game going to be about? But not today, man. No. If you're a Met fan, there's nothing negative to say.
Let's go to Derek in Atlanta. Derek.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my phone call. I just want to say that I am a Yankees fan. But that being said, that was a tremendous win by the New York Mets today. And in my opinion, I think they're going to be a very dangerous team now that they're in. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think that they're in better shape because they won Game 1. You have a pretty good pitcher pitching in Game 1 now. But they're also not in great shape, though, because their bullpen, I don't think you could use Edwin Diaz tomorrow.
Probably not.
After as much as he's pitched in the last 2 days. So you're going in compromised. You just are. If they'd won a couple of games in Milwaukee, that wouldn't be the case. They could have just sent anybody out there for these 2 games. They would have clinched early.
I don't think they're going to be a favorite against Milwaukee or San Diego. I'm not sure the odds are going to be in their favor to win a World Series, but you got to like the way they're playing at least. Yeah, there's some boxes you'd like to check, but there's got to be a belief in that room that anything is possible. And they got to come in with a swagger and a bit of confidence. Yeah, there's a lot of things I'd like to change. I think they need to hit a little better. And you're right, the bullpen's a bit compromised. But, this rotation has been pretty good. And we'll see how it breaks down. But why not make a run, Michael? We saw the Diamondbacks make a run last year, the Phillies before that. I mean, it's kind of a sport that seems to honor how you're playing at the particular moment. And now you don't think about the 2 games you lost to Milwaukee. You're thinking about the game today and what this team might be capable of doing. And I can't fight a Met fan that believes right now. I'm starting to believe.
Let's go to Raul in Harrisburg. Raul.
Hey, what's up, Mike? Don Peter. Good afternoon.
What's up?
Good afternoon. What's up?
What's going on? Hey, I just want to talk about, I want to sound positive, Mike, but I want to hear Don and you guys. The Yankees coming into the postseason, there's 2 things that are just concerning me. Is the running game, which they're not good all year, and then you got the bullpen. Which one you think is more concerning going into the postseason? Because I think both are. You know what I mean?
I don't think. I mean, they're one of the lesser base running teams in all of baseball, so there's no getting around that. I don't think that they will lose the playoffs because of a running mistake. I mean, I worry about the bullpen. I worry about hitting. The hitting has not been there in the postseason in the last couple of years. So are they going to be able to hit? I'm not concerned. I mean, if you're listing things that you're concerned about, base running is way on the bottom of the list. You wish that it was better, but that's not going to lose them the series, I don't think. I mean, you could end up calling up, a week and a half from now and say, oh, you were wrong. Well, maybe I'll be wrong. But, again, in order of things that I worry about, the bullpen would be up there, just the way it's deployed, and obviously hitting. You got to hit. Got to hit, and you got to hit home runs. Let's go to Ben in the East Village.
Hey, Michael, Don, Peter. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are doing well.
What's up, man?
Same to you.
Thank you. You guys might have talked about this already, but with Rizzo out at first, is Oswaldo the assumed starting first baseman until DJ comes back? I heard about the Ben Rice locker.
Yeah, I think Rice is in play. I think Cabrera's in play as well. Against a righty, it's kind of a bad situation because Oswaldo is a switch hitter who doesn't hit well from the right side. He bats left-handed against a lot of left-handers, and he's just not good, lefty-lefty. So that's a concern. And Ben Rice against a lefty is somewhat neutralized. So they're both left-handed. Now, some people might say, well, gee, maybe we can get back DJ LeMahieu. Now, of those 3, LeMahieu is the best defender, but can he hit with those guys? Can he impact the baseball? Not sure. That's why that was a tough injury. I mean, you're going through a weekend series where really nothing is in play. The Guardians did your work for you by losing twice and giving you the best record in the American League. But, he's just standing up there at the plate, Rizzo, and he gets plunked, and he breaks 2 bones in his hand. So, not good. Not good at all. Rick in Highland Lake. Rick.
Yeah, hi, guys.
What's up?
Hello, Rick.
Hi, great show. Listen to you guys every day. Watch you guys every day, actually. Anyway, I'm going back to talking about the most exciting Met games. One of them, I think, I was at it in 1969, and it wasn't run-wise, but when they came back from the Cubs, had a big lead, and Tom Seaver almost pitched a perfect game.
Jimmy Qualls game.
And I remember the fans singing "Goodbye, Leo" for DeRocher, who was the Cubs manager.
No, it's interesting. Interesting he brings that up, though, Don, and I think that lends some credence to what Peter said. We're prisoners of the moment. I mean, that was an exhilarating game. But that game in 1969 was pretty important in Met history. Really important.
No, it's important.
The guy almost did pitch a perfect game.
Yeah, but this clinched a playoff spot. And just the craziness, like I was getting back and forth with Anthony Greek from Yes about that 99 play-in game, Mets-Reds, the 2-hitter by Al Leiter. It was exhilarating, and the Mets went on to take on the Diamondbacks and beat the Diamondbacks until they fell to the Braves. But I
think it was a 1-hitter, by the way.
I think it was just the back and forth of coming back from 3-0 down, blowing the 6-3 lead. The quality of the game. Like, there were great moments, even though it was... There was the quality of play might have been the greatest. There was still just the back and forth, the exhilaration of the game. A game in the summer in '69 when there wasn't really much of a pennant race. It was a great game for Tom Seaver, and he almost had a perfect game, and it was a great moment. I remember, and one of my favorite.
But that kind of eliminated the Cubs. I mean, it was a big moment.
But this is the last day of the season. I'm sorry, I can't include that. It was a special moment for Tom Seaver, and it's a great memory. You know, we got somebody on hold, Eddie, in Staten Island. He brings up another great game from September 20th of 1973, right, Eddie?
Yes. Yeah. The 73 game, it was the ball off the wall where you thought it was going to be a home run.
Right.
And then Cleon Jones throws it home, and then Ron Hodges makes the play, and the Mets were on a run there. You know, if they lose that game, I mean, the Mets went on to win some games, but you never know what happens after that game.
Dave Augustine came up as a pinch hitter in I think it was a 1-1 tie, right? And he hits the top of the wall, and instead of bouncing over like it would do 99 times out of 100, it bounced back in. But again, that's September 20th. There were still 10 more days left in the season. I mean, this is the final day. Yes, they had a little bit of a margin for error because they'd have the game going on right now in Game 2 of the doubleheader. But, you know, there were a lot of thrilling games, guys, but to be able to come back not once but twice and to eliminate or to make the playoffs against your rival, a team that you never seem to be able to beat. I'm sorry, that ball on the wall game, the Tom Seaver, the Al Leiter game, I'm a Met fan. Those are not today. Those aren't today, to me.
Let's go to Richard in Manhattan. Richard.
Michael, Don, Peter, I tried to call you guys. I just woke up about an hour ago from prostate biopsy, and I was in the recovery room at Lenox Hill, but I couldn't get through.
You all right?
Yeah, well, we'll find out in a few days when you get your biopsy report, but it was fun. Anyway, a guy in the recovery room had the radio. We were listening to the Met game. Okay, fellas, as far as the Met game, I don't want you... You can't convince me I'm wrong here. This game was important as far as significance. If the Mets lost the game, as with Atlanta, the second game, the winning team is not going to play their players. If Atlanta loses today, they deserve never to get into any playoff. The Mets have no reason to play this game. They don't want any pitchers sacrificed for tomorrow, just like Atlanta. I would even question if Atlanta lost the game, they shouldn't even have to beat the Mets with Sale. Of course, that's a little ludicrous, but that's how strongly I feel. It makes no sense for the Mets to even show up in this game because it's not because they have nothing to play for. Why take a chance in losing players that you need tomorrow and the next day? It makes no sense. So the significance of the game was great, this first game. But the importance, I think you guys are over-dramatizing because it's the big picture. No matter who won the first game, there is no question they will lose the second game. If they don't lose the second game...
You say that, but this game is in the bottom of the fourth inning. It's 1-0.
Fellas, that's what makes sports so great. My reasoning is great, but what makes sports so great is what's going to happen. That's why we love... You couldn't make this up. This is more than 1,000,000 to 1 shot that something like this happens. Can you imagine what happened this weekend? The Knicks make a blockbuster trade. Aaron Rodgers looks like Y.A. Tittle in the last year in 1964, and the Mets are playing a game now, and then the next game they don't even have to play. This is unbelievable. You cannot make this up in Hollywood, what's happening these last couple of days.
But then, Richard, you said, I mean, you're kind of like countering your point. You can't make it up what happened in the first game. That's what makes it great. We're not overestimating what it means.
Well, because if the Mets lost the game, there is no way that they can lose the second game.
You keep saying that, but the Braves are only up 1-0 in the fourth inning.
Well, that's so far, right? And that's why sports is sports. My reasoning is not wrong.
Point. Sports is sports.
Richard, I'm praying for you, and I want you to do well with your biopsy, but you're killing me, man. First of all, you're not a Met fan. So it's easy to just say, well, the Braves are going to mail in Game 2 and we'll win. It's 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth inning. And why, Michael, was I crazy to be not okay with the fact that they blew the 6-3 lead? Like thinking, oh, don't worry about they'll win Game 2. Nah, you can't think like that as a fan. You can't think like that as players. You have no idea what's going to happen in this game. Now, maybe the Braves end up winning. The Mets are getting no hit right now through 4. So he's right from that standpoint. But what kind of condition would the Mets be in mentally going into a must-win situation after they had that kind of emotional roller coaster go against them, against that team? Do you really want to take that chance?
We'll come back with the NFL yesterday. Coming up in just a moment. Yeah, the Jets lost embarrassingly so, against the Broncos. But Peter has that and much, much more when we come back on Yes at ESPN Radio.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
If you're an asbestos victim, pay close attention. Billions of dollars are being paid out to people like you. We should know. We're Whites in Luxembourg, the law firm that already won over $9 billion for men and women just like you. That's right, over $9 billion for mesothelioma sufferers and their families. We know you're short of money, and we know you're short of time, so we fight hard. Call Whites in Luxembourg at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS. Whites in Luxembourg, winning big for the little guy. Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
The Bombers are set for an epic October run.
Just outstanding.
And Yes is your Yankees postseason home with enhanced pre- and post-game coverage around every playoff game, plus preview specials and exclusive player access.
We're excited to take our shot.
Begins tonight at 6:30 on Yes and the Yes app.
Mi embarazo con Maya fue normal. Todo estuvo bien hasta que nació. La cadera dislocada, y a lo mejor traía consecuencias en la cabeza. Cada cirugía que ella requiere, creí que Dios me la iba a recoger. Lloraba como ahorita, pero mucho porque me la dejan. El hospital Shriners me dio mucha esperanza. Cada día que despierta, le doy gracias a Dios. Pueden encontrar algo que pueda hacer que mi hija tenga una mejor calidad de vida.
Por más de 95 años, los hospitales Shriners para niños han ayudado a brindar esperanza a niños y sus familias, sin importar la capacidad de pago que tengan.
Con la ayuda de los hospitales Shriners, la vida puede ser muy milagrosa. Yo siento que Mayita todavía tiene mucho que vivir y que hacer. Todo va a estar bien, gracias a los hospitales de Shriners.
Visita moreshriners.org hoy.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your Ford dealer is the place to start. With a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains. Get your ideal combination of power and capability with gas, hybrid, or all-electric. But more important than the power you choose is what you choose to do with it.
Right now, lease a Ford Explorer for $369 a month for 36 months, only at your local Ford stores.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
The finest premium arena club in the world comes alive in Brooklyn. Welcome to Crown Club, the Brooklyn Nets' most exclusive club in Barclays Center. Featuring a menu curated by Major Food Group with Carbone classics and a world-class wine list. To learn more about premium memberships at Barclays Center, visit brooklynnets.com/crown-club.
we got nets.
Self-inflicted gunshot, 14-year-old male.
Just tell me to move, man. He's not moving.
Football! Yes, football! They're playing football!
The NFL yesterday.
They played football yesterday, guys. Lots of football. Did you see any, Michael?
Oh, yeah, I did. It was a big rain delay. I watched the whole Jet game.
There you go. An exhilarating game it was. And throughout the league, we saw fantastic performances just like that. Let's get right into it right now and start with the Falcons, who eked out a very, very interesting win over the New Orleans Saints, 26-24. Let's hear what it sounded like it on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta.
A 58-yard try to win the game with 7 seconds left. Pinion to hold, McCullough to snap. Snap spot. Kick from Koo is away, and it is good! 58, and the money shot for Younghoe Koo.
Now, the Falcons did not score an offensive touchdown in the game. The first time since September 26, 2004 that the Falcons won a game without an offensive touchdown. They forced... Well, I'm glad you asked that. I don't know if he did like that. Kirk Cousins in postgame asked about seemingly being upset after the win.
You look pretty frustrated, and I wonder if you're often this frustrated after a win.
I wouldn't be if I played really well. We played really well, but yeah, I do dislike this about myself, that I kind of have a standard that's maybe unreachable, and even after a win, you feel like you got to play better. But I'll still enjoy the win, believe me, but there's just a lot we left out there.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it...
Jerry Jones is in the media now?
Yeah, that's interesting, but I don't know if I'd call it an unreachable standard to not score any points on offense. You know what I'm saying, guys? That seems like a reasonable thing to still be frustrated about if you're Kirk Cousins.
But he's hard on himself, and they did not play well. I watched a lot of that game. It was an interesting game, a fun game, but hey, you got the win. But he didn't like that.
Well, it has been an ugly start so far. And it's so funny when you think about the juxtaposition, guys, from a football standpoint. I mean, could it have gone more opposite for Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold? Kirk goes to Atlanta, has not seemed to be able to find his stride offensively. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold ends up in the spot that Kirk Cousins was so successful in, and he is absolutely rolling. Are the Vikings that good? Well, we'll find out. They eked out a 31-29 win over the Packers, but it wasn't quite that close. The Packers scored late after being down 9 to cut it to 2, but it was a 21-0 lead and then a 28-0 lead right here. Here's the play-by-play from KFAN in Minneapolis.
First and goal from the 14. Darnold out of the shotgun, puts Jefferson in motion to the right. He'll go that way to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown!
Are you kidding me with that catch?
Justin Jefferson with a 14-yard touchdown grab. And the Minnesota Vikings lead the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field 27-0.
And at that point, you hated Ballard.
Oh.
But
you have no idea the level of disgust I had at that moment. Go ahead, Don.
You were probably engaged in this game because it was your three-point pick. And speaking of pick, Darnold had a bad one in the red zone that I thought was going to let the Packers right back into the game. So it did get dicey towards the end.
It did. Love ended up throwing for 389 yards. He struggled throwing the ball deep, going 8 of 23 with 3 picks on passes of throws more than 10 yards in the air. Darnold has now thrown 11 TDs this season, his most in a single season since 2019 with the Jets. His 7 passing touchdowns are the most in a 2-game span in his career. Here's Sam. What makes you so confident in this team?
Our attacking schemes on offense, defense, special teams, and then the players we got. It's a really good formula for success in this league, but at the end of the day, we believe in each other more than anyone else believes in us. So it's a really good formula. But again, we got to continue to learn from the things that we didn't do in this game. The way that they were able to come back. Like I said, on offense, I feel like we could have been a lot better in the second half, and just got to continue to learn and grow.
Well, these quarterbacks just not happy. Just not happy with wins, Peter.
It's
Don,
not enough sometimes.
I'd like to throw something at you, Don,
Yes.
because you're the arbiter of taste. So you remember the years that I won the picks? Peter said I was getting help. People were helping. Peter made a 3-point pick because of Ballard. So maybe Ballard is his whisperer.
No, he's not at all. And
No?
by the way,
Well, you took a 3-point pick from him?
No. I took my 2-point pick tonight because of him. My 3-point Packer pick was my own. Now, can you argue I'm influenced by Ballard on the Packers in general because he's a psychopath who thinks they're winning the Super Bowl every day of his life? Yes, and that would be my own.
Yeah, but you just said you took the 2-point pick because of him. You're not making your own picks. You should be disqualified.
Well, no. He influenced me.
Yeah.
He didn't make
No.
the
You shouldn't be influenced by anybody. Don and I make our own picks.
Well, hold on. I have a question. But, Michael, you read places about teams, right?
Yeah.
Should you be disqualified?
No, but I'm not having some hack call and tell me, take this, take that.
That's
not what happened.
Now,
that's
my own little pet peeve, Peter, is I think that fans of teams can be a nice resource in the negative, never the positive. I listen to the negative things they say. The positive stuff.
How is it a nice resource?
Now they get a little too giddy. I think sometimes they sense the negative when other people don't.
Although, Don, you want to know the exact reverse of that happened this weekend?
What's that?
Me not making the Commanders my 3-point play. I loved them getting 3.5 at Arizona. Who is Arizona? Why were they favored? It was a
You can say the same thing about Washington. Who's Washington?
They're the best team in the NFC East.
Well, now they are, but I mean, we go into it thinking that they're that great.
Well, listen, that great? No, but Arizona stinks. And I had just seen for 2 straight weeks the Washington offense not get off the field. And by the way, at one point yesterday it ended, guys. They scored on 16 straight drives. I'm sorry, Arizona stinks.
In other words, what Peter's trying to say, Michael, is that your pick of Arizona stunk.
Oh, it was crazy. Don, admit it. You thought that pick was crazy from him. Admit it.
All right, so I thought his pick of the Packers stunk.
Yeah, but
the Mets will not get no hit in Game 2. Alonso just single.
Well, congrats. Welcome to the party, Pete. Speaking of Jaden Daniels, well, he didn't do very much in Game 1. Speaking of Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, who are now 3-1 atop the NFC East, another great performance. He has the highest completion percentage of any rookie quarterback ever right now. I believe he just surpassed Tom Brady. Let's hear from Jaden Daniels. Have you made a statement to the league?
I think that's what for people to determine. For us, is, man, how can we get better each and every game? Obviously, it's early in the season, so we'll have to finish the year. But, I can't put anything on it. But I know that teams look at us and say, hey, those guys play hard.
No fun.
Now, one team that is making an interesting statement and is going to have to continue to make statements without now Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown, Isaiah Pacheco. It's the Kansas City Chiefs who find a way to get it done over the Chargers, 17-10. Let's hear it on 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City.
On first down and goal to go. 10-10 tie. Handoff goes to Pirine. Behind right guard, trying to press forward. A bunch of bodies into the end zone. Touchdown! Kansas City. Samaj Pirine. His first touchdown as a Kansas City Chief, and the Chiefs lead first time in the game at 16-10.
Now the Chiefs go to 4-0.
These guys credit. I'm glad you play these clips, Peter. These guys have some voices.
Yeah, they're very good.
Because, to get to where they need to go and not sound distorted, they're unbelievable, these announcers.
The Chiefs go to 4-0, but are certainly doing it the hard way, losing yet another key piece. Lastly, let's go to Baltimore and hear the call from WBAL and B-More.
First and goal with the Bills 9. Lamar keeps it. Read option running to the right. Gets outside the numbers. Touchdown, Ravens! Lamar Jackson extends the Ravens lead, and this crowd has come back to life.
The Ravens now 2-2 after two big wins over the Cowboys and Bills. Derrick Henry coming up 1 yard short of 200 yards. Lamar Jackson on just how impactful Derrick Henry is.
Man, Derrick Henry, he opened up the play-action game. Guys running to the ball, trying to stop him from getting started in the backfield. And our offensive line just did a great job of giving Derrick lanes. Our receivers did a great job as well, blocking down the field and letting Derrick do his things.
Too bad Jerry Jones could not afford him, because that Derrick Henry sure is impactful. Ravens to 2-2, Bills to 3-1. That'll do it for the NFL yesterday on this Monday.
Well, we'll come back with your phone calls. We got a lot of stuff still to do. We're on until 6:20, 6:22, and we're following the Mets and the Braves as well. Hey, I talk for a living. Whether I'm in the
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
This is you, and this is your powerful hunch. The kind of hunch that hits hard during the game.
The Eagles look strong.
And while the game moves fast, with FanDuel, you're faster.
This kicker doesn't miss.
With FanDuel, it's easier than ever to place your bet before the next play, so you won't let a hunch go to waste.
Touchdown!
And make every moment more.
Winner, winner, lobster dinner.
New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years. When I have customers come in and ask for something for memory, I recommend Prevagen. #1, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription. And I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really worked so good for me. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your Ford dealer is the place to start. With a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains. Get your ideal combination of power and capability with gas, hybrid, or all electric. But more important than the power you choose is what you choose to do with it.
Right now, returning lessees can lease a Ford F-150 for $299 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
The fall holiday weekend is just around the corner. It's the perfect time to dare to compare. You've seen the action. America loves it so much that Bob's is opening 2 new stores on October 11th. Dare to compare at a Bob's near you.
Popeye's wings are the official wing of watching football. Win the wing game every week with 7 signature flavors, including new sweet and smoky chipotle. We don't make sense. We make chicken. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
So, there's this guy, Paul Rivera, grew up in the Bronx. As a kid, he made some mistakes, but right out of high school, he joins the Army. Does construction and HVAC his whole life. Paul Rivera's a guy you can say,
I love my life. I've done everything right. So, where's the rub?
Well, he gets pulmonary fibrosis, and the only hope is a lung transplant. Poor guy's close to curtains. When out of the blue, one hospital, Montefiore Einstein, hears about his case and takes it on. But not only does our friend get a new lung, he gets a whole new life. He keeps getting stronger. Everyone in his neighborhood is like,
They give that guy a new lung or a new motor.
Paul Rivera made the most of his second chance. He's a good egg. Unlike you, derelicts.
See you guys next week.
The story, Mr. Giamatti.
Well, you ought to know, Mr. Rivera. You lived it. Sharp hat.
In an election year, our social media feeds can fill up with sensational claims and unfamiliar sources. And in the age of artificial intelligence, it's not hard to make a fake video look like the real deal. With so many tools, tactics, and motivations for spreading false content, we need to be on the lookout for bad actors looking to sway our votes. If you see a damaging post, image, or story about a candidate or issue, make sure to verify whether it's real or not before you share it. Falsehoods spread much faster than facts. Be informed, not misled.
Let's go, yeah.
The Bombers are set for an epic October run.
Just outstanding.
And Yes is your Yankees postseason home.
This team is set up to go deep into October.
With enhanced pre- and post-game coverage around every playoff game, plus preview specials and exclusive player access.
We're excited to take our shot.
You followed the chase all season. Don't miss Yes's postseason coverage from the network that knows the Bombers best. Begins tonight at 6:30 on Yes and the Yes app.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Visit linkedbylovetv.org to learn more about kidney disease, transplantation, and prevention. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
Whatsoever. That was just tremendous. Really, really good. I don't know how you top that the rest of the week.
I mean, I'll be
maybe you stop, give up.
We'll see. We will see. Mets had a little bit of a thing going, but they got out of it, the Braves. So we go to bottom 5. Braves still with a 1-0 lead.
So the Mets, if you just got out of work, they clinched with a thrilling, exhilarating, scintillating Game 1 victory. Came back from 3-0, came back from 7-6. And they are in the playoffs. If they lose this game, they will be going to Milwaukee. If they win the game, they'll be going to San Diego. So that's what's at stake. And if they win the game and they go to San Diego, then Arizona will go to Milwaukee. And Arizona must feel so helpless right now. But it's their fault. I mean, they couldn't even score. They didn't even score on Saturday until the Padres broke out in the I guess it was the bottom of the 8th inning. I mean, they deserve not to make it. So, as we like to say, they have no kick coming because they didn't perform like they should perform. They didn't get the hitting, and if they don't make it, they can't sit there and blame the Mets for not beating the Braves. It's on them, man. They put themselves in this bad position.
Listen, they were 5-5 down the stretch. They took on a Padre team in their own building that didn't need
had nothing to play for
and lost 2 out of 3. So, like you said, they don't have a kick coming. You feel bad for them. They probably feel helpless. Defending National League champions, rooting hard for the Braves to give them, rooting hard for the Mets to come back and give them an opportunity to go in. But they can't blame anybody but themselves for this.
Now, I'm not sure how close you guys followed the Yankees yesterday, but the beginning of the game was delayed in an hour and 31 minutes. The weather was awful.
Yeah, terrible.
Then they started the game at about 4:35, something like that, and it was worse than it was in the hour and a half that they didn't play. Worse. And then we kept saying, why are they playing this game? Why are they playing this game? And you know what? They had reasons. Now, it wasn't up to the Yankees. Major League Baseball refused to allow them to call the game because you still had home field advantage in the World Series up against the Phillies, and the Phillies won that tie. And then you had home field advantage up against Milwaukee and San Diego if they get to the World Series. And since they lost, well, then the Yankees winning, that clinches home field advantage. So the Yankees would not have home field advantage against the Phillies, nor would they have home field advantage against the Dodgers. Now, one thing that people misunderstood yesterday, Milwaukee, if it had beaten the Mets yesterday, would have had home field, San Diego, if it had beaten Arizona, would have had home field advantage against the Yankees in the World Series. And people didn't understand, well, why would a division winner not have home field advantage against a wild card winner? And the reason is that once you get to home field advantage in the World Series, it's not about winning a division, it's about who has the better record. And the Yankees have the better record than the Padres.
Now, I know you got the Players Association and the Pirates, they want to go golfing. Their season's over. But wouldn't it have been better, Michael, to play that game today? Yankees don't have a game until Saturday. We knew that. Pirates' season is over. Why play in those conditions when they could have very easily played the game this afternoon?
I don't think they would have pushed that to keep the Pirates an extra day just for tiebreaker scenarios, because I don't think this doubleheader would have been played for tie-breaking scenarios. The commissioner would have come up with tiebreakers to actually figure it out. That you don't want teams playing on this day. This is supposed to be a blank day.
All right, but you know what? Why have players go out there and possibly get hurt in those conditions? All right, why would you want a major league game played? Why would you want fans to have to sit in that? I was outside for a lot of the day yesterday, too. It was just a miserable day. It wasn't pouring, but it was just one of those just raw, steady rain, just an awful day. I see what you're...
Not a sit in your filth kind of day,
but Peter, like, you don't want to play on Monday. Well, I'm sorry. So you play on Monday. What, Pittsburgh has to stay an extra day, and the Yankees aren't playing until next Saturday. So what would have been the harm?
It actually would help the Yanks. It would have helped the Yanks. That would be one less layoff day. So I was amazed just looking around the stadium. After an hour and 31-minute rain delay, how many people stayed? And it caused a problem in the K family because my wife took Charlie, Callie, and Callie's friend to the game. And I just told Jody, I kept texting her, I said, go home. Go home. They stayed for 3 innings, and then she told them to go home, and Charlie's still mad today.
Yeah, well...
He wanted to stay the whole game.
Well, the thing is, Michael, not everybody lives in the Bronx, all right? I don't know how it is in other places around the country, but you've got Yankee fans coming from the Jersey Shore, coming from Connecticut, you know, and it takes you 2 hours, all the money you spend in parking and everything, and you want to see a game. It's the last game of the season, right? So nobody wants to go through all that trouble and all that money that was spent and not see a game. So I can understand people hanging in there, as awful as it was. If you live across the street and you go to 50 games a year, then it's maybe easy for you to go home. But for a lot of people, especially on a Sunday with kids, you want to see a game.
Let's go to Skip in Baltimore.
Skip.
Hey, guys. So the Yankees had an amazing season, division clinching. Who do you see as their kryptonite and why?
I would think it's the Astros still, Skip, because they have institutional knowledge of how to get there. They've been to the ALCS 7 years in a row, 4 World Series in that time. They won 2 of them. They know how to win games, and they know how to beat the Yankees. So I think that would be my biggest fear. And the next team, I think, would be the Orioles. Wouldn't you say that those would be the top 2, Don?
Yes, definitely. But I still feel good.
I mean, Cleveland has a wonderful, wonderful bullpen. But I think the Yankees could beat Cleveland. But I think any team could beat any team. Everybody keeps asking me about the Yankees, and my answer to them is if they get knocked out in the first round, I would not be shocked. And if they win the World Series, I would not be shocked. It's not a cop-out. Because sometimes they look like world beaters, and sometimes they look like they can't get out of their own way.
And I know you don't like to use the word crapshoot, but doesn't it feel like that? Like, if you're telling me that anybody can win, the only team you said no to was Detroit. But the run that they were on to get in.
Kansas City.
But because Kansas City's been too up and down, too inconsistent to think they're going to be able to put it together. But doesn't Detroit feel like Arizona last year, a team that just got red hot? I think they're the worst of the playoff teams based on the 162 games they just played. But if you look at their September, who's better than them? So,
well, I will tell you this. So nobody from the Yankees has told me this, but just trying to do matchups and stuff like that, I think the Yankees are happy the way it played out because they're going to play the Orioles or the Royals. Detroit, their bullpen, with the lefties they have coming out of the bullpen, the Yankees are, in fact, susceptible at the bottom of the order to left-handed relievers. I think they're glad to avoid Detroit until the ALCS. They didn't want to face Detroit in a short series because you're starting out with Tarek Skubal. What is that?
I don't know.
What am I hearing there? Let's listen in. What was that?
Sound like they're evacuating where Peter is. And
all right. See you, Peter.
Oh, boy. And Peter's now gone.
No, there he is.
You all right, Peter?
Oh, he's gone? Oh.
You know what? We shouldn't joke.
Don't worry about it.
We don't know.
Well, you know what? Kadeem in Brooklyn. Kadeem?
And, Michael, you weren't there. You were at a game last time I called. I gave Don and Peter their flowers. But just to let you know, I've been a Yankee fan 33 years, as long as I can remember. Just hearing your voice to the point now where if I play MLB The Show and I hit a home run, I even say see you with your inflection.
There you go.
Appreciate the work you do.
Beautiful.
Of course. But yeah, so like to the point, segueing into that, everybody knows that Don is the people's champ, and I'm just happy as hell for him and the other Mets fans. My cousin's a Mets fan, and he's a typical, just waiting for something bad to happen. Don, I think you've been very fair all year, even when you thought that they should sell before the deadline. And been listening to you all summer, and I'm glad that you guys have made it in, and I know I'm getting ahead of my skis, and it's a much harder road for the Mets, but imagine the energy, the buzz that would be if we were to have another Subway Series. I'm praying for it. I would hope. I know it's a long shot, but I would love nothing more. And in conclusion, to pay homage to one of the greatest radio drops of all time, from the Watts philosopher Peter Rosenberg, God bless.
It is a good
God
drop.
bless as well. I don't think it's impossible to have a Subway Series. It's not impossible. I think it might be improbable, but far from impossible.
There's another
because they're both good teams.
Well, there's another layer the Mets would have to go through to get there, as opposed to 2000. But the Mets were a wild card team in 2000. I think the road is tougher in the National League for sure, but you never know. And it'd be pretty amazing, Michael. It would be. I wonder, would it measure up to 2000? The Yankees were a dynasty. The Yankees haven't won in a while. I think it might actually be bigger.
No, because I think the first time is always the biggest. I mean, that was just amazing, and that was the end of the Yankee. Well, they still went to the World Series the next year. That was like a great dynastic Yankee team and a spunky Met team. I don't think you look at either of these two teams as dynastic. I don't think it would beat 2000.
No, but I did feel like you had a David and Goliath kind of feel to it because the Yankees had won the previous two World Series. The Mets were this like spunky wild card team. That's the parallel to this year because that's what the Mets would be. But I don't know if there's that big of a difference between these two teams. All right, the Mets right now have 89 wins to the Yankees 94. There's only 5 games separating these two teams. Mets swept the regular season series. So I think if they were to meet, I think it would be a lot more even than 2000. So would that make it a little bit more exciting?
I mean, I thought 2000 was exhilarating. I'm not sure that this would reach it, but who am I to say? It's up to each individual person how they feel. Let's go to Christian in North Caldwell.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
What's up?
Good. How are you?
Hey.
Chris?
Doing great after a Mets win.
For sure.
So I just want to say that the last week since they lost that first game to the Braves, I thought they were going to be the same old Mets. And then especially after this weekend, seeing how they played against Milwaukee. But today to like you said, Don, slay the dragon and get into the playoffs and not have to do it on a second game was big. Carries that momentum. And, Mike, did you say that if they win that the Diamondbacks get in over the Braves?
If they win, then the Braves would be out and the Diamondbacks get in, yes.
So then I say as Mets fans, let's get selfish and hope for this. It was satisfying getting in, but let's really slay the dragon and make sure the Braves don't get in. So I just wanted to say,
I don't think you're being unrealistic, Christian, because if you're a Met fan, you want to bury the Braves. You want to bury them. I mean, what's worse than getting swept and losing a game that the other team doesn't care if it wins and it impacts you and keeps you out of the playoffs? Of course, I don't think the Mets are acting that way, but Met fans should feel that way.
I asked the question earlier. If the Mets have a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the ninth inning, you're rooting for them to lose the game? No, you're going to want to see them win. Even if you'd rather face Milwaukee than San Diego and the long flight and all that, I find myself in this 1-0 game in the top of the 6th inning rooting for the Mets to come back and win. Because you want to see a team win. Go in with a little heat, right? Win a couple of games in a row. Knock the Braves out. Because, yeah, you slayed a dragon, but doesn't it hit a little different, Michael? You slayed a dragon, but that dragon still got in.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mets now are threatening first and third.
I think that as long as you do nothing to risk anything in the coming days, then you want to slay that.
No, I'm not saying bring in Diaz for a third consecutive day to get the save, or have Lindor, who's had off all day, since the home run, come in and pinch hit. But if they've got a chance to win this game, I'd like to see them win it.
I hear you. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Let's go to Griffin in Connecticut. Griffin.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, Michael, I have a question. So Boone has talked about for Game 2, it's either going to be Rodon or Heel. right?
Right. Yep.
Is there a possibility that the Yankees look at, because to me, I would start Rodon in Game 2. And I know matchups is what you look at too, but Rodon has better numbers at home than on the road. Is that a possibility that the Yankees will look into, or are they just going to look at matchups? Because
Well, Boone was asked that on Sunday or Saturday, and he said, we'll have nothing to do with it, home or away. I think matchups, Griffin would have more to do with it. And he has kept open the possibility. He said that Rodon's either going to start games 2 or 3. So I don't know if they lose game 1. Does he feel that he has to have Rodon or Heel? And again, it depends on, are they playing the Orioles or the Royals? I mean, there's so many things. I don't think the Yankees will set their roster until they see exactly who they're playing. That's the important part. You can't set your roster and your pitching rotation, because you could do whatever you want with your pitching rotation because they have 5 days off. They could actually pitch whomever they want and whatever day. Now, how they use and employ those people, with bullpen days during the week, that's going to be impactful on who you could use. But everything right now, the world is their oyster. They just have to wait to see who's going to win that series before they decide. We know that Cole's going to start game 1. After that, well, they'll make decisions as they move along. Let's go to Dylan in Alabama. Dylan.
Hi, guys. I'm kind of nervous, so just bear with me.
Don't be.
Thank you, Mr. K. I just want to say I love you guys. I'm a 20-year-old student at the University of Alabama, so
How about that win Saturday, huh?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. It was one of the greatest. When I was at that game, it was absolutely amazing. So I was just kind of curious, since the Yankees have the #1 seed in the AL, I'm just kind of curious. Do you think this is the year for the Yankees to make it to the World Series?
Well, let's put it this way, Dylan. They have their best chance that they've had in a long time, and they're the favorite. So Vegas thinks that they're the team that's going to go to the World Series. I think everything is opened up for them. I think that for the most part, other than the Rizzo injury, which I contend is big, they're coming in healthy pitching-wise. Again, no Nestor, but you hope that he's okay for the ALCS. I think it's right there, Don and Peter. I really do. I think it's right there, and they don't have to face Houston until the ALCS if Houston gets through it. So, yeah, if you ask me, I had to make my picks for ESPN today. I had the Yankees playing the Phillies in the World Series.
Well, that's chalk, right? Because I don't believe in the Dodgers pitching is a mess. And I think that's going to really hurt them. I think Philadelphia is better than Los Angeles. And they've been, I think, all year a little bit more consistent. They had a little bit of a hiccup in the middle of the summer, but that's because they really weren't challenged in their division. Everything's are breaking their way. Outside of the Pirates series, which meant nothing, the Yankees have been playing very well down the stretch. Until the Rizzo injury, they were healthy. I agree with you. The Rizzo injury is a bit of a problem. I just don't believe in any of these teams in the American League. I know you get scared of the Astros because they're the Astros. They didn't have a great year either. I really think the American League is theirs for the taking, and that's why Vegas has them as the favorite.
I want everybody out there to be tuning into ABC tomorrow at 2:30, as it will be Game 1 of the Astros against the Tigers. I'll be on the play-by-play. That's ABC.
Look at you. This ain't them hacking cable channel. This is ABC.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped up.
Howard Cosell.
I'm a little nervous.
Al Michaels, Michael Kay.
Kidding me?
Jim McKay and Michael
Keith
McKay.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Just truly great.
Bruin Arledge. Dan Grossett will follow us, and he's going to be on until 9.
Yay!
And then after Dan, how about this, guys? Ty Butler has the 9 to midnight slot.
Love me some Ty.
Congratulations to the Mets on getting in. And the Braves are leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th. So we'll have all that stuff tomorrow at 3. And now it is time.
That's a wrap on the show for today. For all of us here on the Michael Kay Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. We'll see you next time. The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Hi, I'm Greg. I live in Bloomington, Illinois. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. Some people say, why should I take Prevagen? I don't have a problem with my memory. Memory loss is not something that occurs overnight. I started noticing subtle lapses in memory. I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. It's helped my memory. It's helped my cognitive qualities. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
I'm a leader by pushing my teammates to be the best that they can be.
I am a leader because I set a strong example.
I'm a leader by being responsible. I stand up for myself and others.
I am confident. I am caring.
We want girls to lead their own way. That's why the NBA and WNBA are proud to support Lean In Girls, a program that teaches girls to reject stereotypes and embrace their leadership superpowers. This is what leadership looks like.
The Bombers are set for an epic October run.
Just outstanding.
And Yes is your Yankees postseason home with enhanced pre- and post-game coverage around every playoff game, plus preview specials and exclusive player access.
We're excited to take our shot.
Begins tonight at 6:30 on Yes and the Yes app.
The doctor said I only had a 29% chance to find you. But I knew you were out there. Every night, even when my heart was sad, I wished for you to sign up. I got so sick that I couldn't go to school, but I still made people laugh. But when we matched, it was the best day ever. Dear donor, your blood stem cells saved me from leukemia. Thank you forever and ever and ever. Sincerely, Owen.
Experience the true joy of saving a life at nmdp.org.
Get 3.9% APR for 36 months plus $1,000 purchase allowance on most 2024 Cadillac models when you finance through Cadillac Financial.
If you're an asbestos victim, pay close attention. Billions of dollars are being paid out to people like you. We should know. We're Whites & Luxembourg, the law firm that already won over $9 billion for men and women just like you. That's right, over $9 billion for mesothelioma sufferers and their families. We know you're short of money, and we know you're short of time, so we fight hard. Call Whites & Luxembourg at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS. Whites & Luxembourg, winning big for the little guy.
Do you spend hours maintaining your gutters? Save that time with LeafGuard's maintenance-free system. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS. Mesh filters sit on top of your gutters, building up debris and eventually clogging. Then they need to be cleaned too. Honestly, your home should have been built with LeafGuard gutters. LeafGuard's wraparound hood deflects debris and keeps water away from your home. The one-piece seamless system is strong, 20% thicker than average, and built to last. Plus, LeafGuard is guaranteed to never clog for as long as you own your home. Right now, get a complete LeafGuard system for only $99 down, $99 a month, and $99 installation. You'll also receive a $100 Visa gift card with a free gutter inspection and in-home estimate. Damage from clogged gutters can cost you thousands. Never worry about clogged gutters again. Don't wait, you've still got time. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS today. That's 1-833-2-GUTTERS.
Your attention, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Yes.
We have prepared properly. We are ready to roll. We're hell-bent on being a champion. We got to go prove it.
We put our pressure on ourselves. We just got to go out there and do what we do.
Yeah, you understand. That's
Base hit. Rizzo's going for two. It's an RBI double, and the Yankees take the lead. Swing and a miss. Yankees win 2-1, and they're going to the postseason. And this could do it. And the Yankees win 10-1, and they clinch the American League East for the 21st time in their history, and they finish first for the 50th time since 1903.
$162 games in the books. An American League best 94 of them wins. This is Yankees 2024 postseason bound, setting the stage for the road to and through October. 11 victories away from the ultimate prize. It's great to have you with us here in our Yes Network studio. Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry with you. So the Yankees getting back into the playoffs, Jack. They're headed to the postseason in the ALDS and doing it, checking a lot of boxes along the way. Get into the playoffs, get the division title, best record in the American League, all accomplished.
And for all those reasons, Bob, this is a time for the Yankees to rejoice and reflect and be really proud of the season that they had. You have the best record in the American League. You absolutely have to be proud of that. But in order to let the good times roll and for that October to continue to extend, the rejoicing and the reflecting, that's got to get thrown out of the window. You have to talk about focus and commitment and getting those 11 wins that you talked about. How does that happen? Soto and Joe.